Chapter 172. Han Fei was stunned. You didn't fight so many brittle monsters, but 4 of you ran away to kill me, a big piece of meat? Su Yebai smiled coldly. I knew your defense was strong, so I've been waiting for you. The enemy's retreat was too decisive. Before everyone realized what was going on, Han Fei seemed to have been hit by 10,000 points. Qin Yu's outbreak, Zhou Yu's black tortoise strike, Yun Qi's long rod, and Xie Shan, who was covered in swords, all attacked at the same time. Stunned, Lu Renkuang scratched his head subconsciously. What are they thinking? Luo Xiaobai was stunned for a second and quickly took action, shouting, Target Su Yebai. Xia Xiaochan moved as fast as lightning. Zhang Xuanyu's eyes turned white and a soul shock went straight to Su Yebai's head. Su Yebai's face changed greatly. He saw the problem almost in the blink of an eye. The 4 people of the thug legend didn't care about Han Fei at all. But either Han Fei had a power that he didn't know, or Han Fei could fight 4 people alone, or Han Fei's defense was so amazing that they didn't need to worry about him at all. Su Yebai roared, Retreat! 10,000 spider blood poison. Su Yebai made a mistake and immediately began to remedy it. For people were also coming at him, so he had to unleash his full strength. For a moment, the audience only saw the vines withering. Xia Xiaochan threw away the dagger in her hand because the black spider venom had covered her dagger in midair. Lu Renkuang's blade storm was the strongest. It shattered all the spider threads in front of Su Yebai and even the black tortoise armor. Seeing that victory was about to come, a huge black conch appeared and blocked the blade storm. Han Fei sneered. You're in my water and you want to help others? Yes. The moment the 4 people besieged him, Han Fei raised a water wall around him and waved the 7-star chain. Han Fei's figure shuttled among the 4 people like a mudfish. The 2 knives were like wandering snakes in his hands, and his control was even better than Qin Yu's dagger. Xie Shan, who was covered in swords, charged at Han Fei with thorns all over his body. But to his surprise, Han Fei ignited a spiritual energy protective cover and collided with him head-on. The audience only saw the water explode. Other than Qin Yu, Zhou Yu and Yun Qi were sent flying. Han Fei was extremely fast, turning into a blur at an unreasonable speed. The person flying in front of him was Xie Shan, who had defeated Zhang Xuanyu in an incomparably domineering manner. Bang bang bang. There were faint electric arcs on Han Fei's fists. He punched again and again, and his body seemed to be in a state of spiritual energy explosion. The spikes on Xie Shan's body shattered one by one. Ever since he was caught by Han Fei, he had no chance to escape. He had never come down from the air. Some blades were even broken by Han Fei. Even when Han Fei's hands were bombarded by the swords, they only made clanking sounds. Of course, it was not completely useless. Xie Shan seemed to know that he couldn't escape. Under the full bombardment, Han Fei's body was now covered with blood marks. But Xie Shan was even more miserable. His arms were twisted off by Han Fei, and the blade on his chest was completely shattered by Han Fei. At this moment, his chest was stained with blood, and blood was spurting out of his mouth. Black tortoise. Zhou Yu's reaction was very fast. Layers of shield armor appeared in front of Xie Shan. But Han Fei was not afraid at all. Facing the shield armor, he released a burst of spiritual energy. The shield armor shattered layer after layer, and in the end, Xie Shan was thrown into the sky by Han Fei. Universe strike. A blade soared into the sky. In the blink of an eye, all 7 layers of shield armor were shattered, and Xie Shan's whole body was pierced through. He fell heavily to the ground, dead or alive. Many people from the First Academy stood up and watched this scene in shock. Han Fei, is this spirit gatherer so strong? Han Fei's face was a little pale. After all, the other party was an advanced great fishing master, and the gap between their realms was different from that of a fisher. Even according to the most basic gap, Han Fei and Xie Shan were at least 3 levels apart. But Han Fei knew that if he tried his best to kill one of them first, Zhang Xuanyu would be at an advantage. The teachers of the First Academy were pale. In their calculation, although Han Fei was strong, he was not fast enough and his combat skills were not fierce enough. so they ranked him fourth in the thug legend. The first was Xia Xiaochan, the second was Luo Xiaobai, and the third was Lu Renkuang. But now they found that they were totally wrong. Han Fei was too fucking strong. 4 against 1, and 1 was killed. The audience burst into an uproar. What the hell? An advanced great fishing master couldn't break Han Fei's defense and could only cause some superficial wounds to him. Was he still a human? The next moment, Su Yebai shouted, "Zhou Yu, block Han Fei. The others, go back to help." On the other side, Lu Renkuang appeared in front of Xia Xiaochan with 2 brand new daggers. The latter's eyes turned cold. Poison? Giant arowana. At this moment, while many people were still shocked by Han Fei's strength, a golden fish more than 10 meters long or even larger appeared. Wow, what kind of fish is this? Almost everyone present was stunned. They didn't know this fish. What kind of fish is this? Suddenly, the teachers of the second academy exclaimed, "A second spiritual beast." At this time, countless people suddenly realized that there was a second spiritual beast? Don't lie to me. What was a giant arowana? Xia Xiaochan didn't know. But since there was a dragon in its name, it must have the bloodline of a dragon. At this moment, the big fish opened its mouth, and a gust of wind blew and the dragon roared, shocking the entire Blue Sea arena. Outside, the mayor and the presidents of the 3 academies came one after another. They felt that something was wrong. But at this moment, the giant arowana roared, and its voice shattered everyone's black tortoise armor like a demonic sound. Because it was an indiscriminate attack, even Lu Renkuang and Zhang Xuanyu vomited blood. With blood flowing from the corner of her mouth, Luo Xiaobai took the opportunity to break the layers of spider silk with her vines. Fuse. Su Yebai finally chose to fuse while bleeding from all 7 of his orifices. At this moment, almost 10 feet long sharp claws grew out of his back, and he quickly dodged to the side. An Qinyu, who had been ready to fight Xia Xiaochan, was dispelled by her roar. When she returned to human form from the ghost state, she lay on the ground and coughed blood. Yun Qi replenished Su Yebai's spiritual energy and performed a healing technique. A big sword flew over from Zhou Yu's side, and he quickly pounced on Luo Xiaobai. He gave up Xia Xiaochan and Han Fei, who were no match for him at all. And this happened to be a gap in Luo Xiaobai's defense. Blood burn. Furious Sea spiritual strike. Vomiting blood, Zhang Xuanyu gritted his teeth and attacked Yun Qi with his soul. Seeing that Yun Qi slowed down, he smashed his rod at him. Zhang Xuanyu's feet went soft. He was too close to Xia Xiaochan just now, and his combat ability was seriously reduced by her roar. Zhang Xuanyu shouted, "Han Fei, help me." Han Fei frowned and looked at Zhou Yu, who was blocking him. Scar of War Shadows. Zhou Yu almost vomited blood. This guy is here again. I'm no match for him at all. In an instant, Zhou Yu cast multiple layers of black tortoise shields on himself and fought Han Fei head-on. Bim! The Han Fei was blown away, and Zhou Yu's armor was broken. He half knelt on the ground, panting heavily. But before he stood up, Han Fei shouted again, "Scar of War Shadows." Zhou Yu? At this moment, the fat man felt very wronged. Is this guy's strength and spiritual energy infinite? How many times has it been? This time, Zhou Yu failed to block it. His armor was all broken, and Han Fei ran away again. Yun Qi's face changed drastically. Zhou Yu was so fat that he couldn't even defend himself. The next moment, a burst of light sprinkled on Zhang Xuanyu. Zhang Xuanyu shook all over and slashed at him with a big rod. Su Yebai didn't count on any of them now. His teammates had no chance of winning. All this was because he made a wrong decision to besiege Han Fei. At this moment, countless spider threads burst out of Su Yebai's body. No matter what, he had to kill Xia Xiaochan first. This woman's attack power was too strong for him to resist. Xia Xiaochan disdainfully looked at Su Yebai, who was bouncing at her with spider threads. She didn't even use her giant arowana but turned into a shadow and entangled him. Poison explosion. Han Fei shouted, "Retreat!" Puff! Xia Xiaochan fell to the ground, her face blue and purple. What kind of poison is this? Can it penetrate shadows? After landing on the ground, Xia Xiaochan's breath was unstable and her body was faintly red. Han Fei immediately had a bad feeling. What if she had an attack at this moment? Han Fei's eyes immediately turned red. Little brat, I'm going to beat you until you call me daddy today. Chapter 173. Han Fei was furious. It was true that Xia Xiaochan was a little demon girl, but didn't the four of them just let her do whatever she wanted in the academy? It was one thing to make a fuss, but he still liked her very much. No matter what, it was not up to an outsider to beat him up. The point was that if Xia Xiaochan had an attack now, it would be disastrous. With so many people present, she might accidentally get dozens of patients. It was too easy for her. Han Fei stepped in the air, but his hands didn't stop. He cast the divine healing technique on Xia Xiaochan, and at the same time, a green fruit flew to Xia Xiaochan. Han Fei shouted, "Detoxify!" It was over. 7 chains pierced through the void from all directions. Han Fei roared, 7-star chain, clang. Su Yebai wanted to use his claws to block the chain, but he was entangled as soon as he got close. Han Fei secretly felt that it was a pity that Su Yebai had 8 claws, and the 9-tailed mantis shrimp had only evolved 7 tails. Otherwise, the enemy wouldn't be able to move at all. Su Yebai turned pale with fright. What kind of skill was that? The chain is alive? Connect to where? Seeing that Han Fei was already in front of him, he shouted, "Attach!" Han Fei chuckled. A contractual spiritual beast wants to stop me? In the chaos, Han Fei had already held a small seal in his hand. He had never used this small seal before. He didn't want to be too ostentatious, but he was so angry that this guy poisoned Xia Xiaochan to such a state. Bang! When Han Fei waved his fist, a big seal appeared in the air. The next moment, Su Yebai was smashed into the ground like a cannonball, creating a huge crater. Han Fei secretly put the water-stirring seal back into Forge the Universe, thinking that no one saw it. The seal was so small that I could only hold it in my hand. Since then, the top 100 of the First Academy, except for Yun Qi, who was fighting with Zhang Xuanyu, had all been defeated. Han Fei immediately looked at Cloud 7. Yun Qi raised his eyebrows, swept away Zhang Xuanyu with his sword, and jumped back 3 times in a row. I admit defeat. Yun Qi was not a fool. How could he fight in this state? He tied with Zhang Xuanyu at most, and the rest were all defeated by Han Fei. 3 of them were killed by Han Fei alone. If he continued to fight, would he be courting death? The host stuttered, "I admit defeat." It was a big event that shocked the heavens and made ghosts and gods weep. The Thug Legend completed their legend. For the first time in more than 30 years, they had won 100 games in a row in the Blue Sea Arena. This is a miracle. This is a memorable epic. This is worthy of our cheers, our craziness. In the roar of the tsunami, Han Fei and the others crowded around Luo Xiaobai. At this moment, Xia Xiaochan looked much better. Xia Xiaochan looked at Han Fei and said aggrievedly, "I didn't know he was so poisonous." Han Fei was relieved. "That's good. It's a pity that the giant arowana was exposed." "It's okay. We're not in the city. Don't worry." Han Fei hesitated. "What about just now?" Xia Xiaochan pursed her lips and shook her head slightly. "It's okay. It's over." Han Fei heaved a sigh of relief. As long as she didn't have an attack, everything was fine. Otherwise, only the heavens knew what would happen. At the scene, mid-quality pearls were all over the sky, and someone was throwing them wildly. When the top 100 contestants of the First Academy appeared, countless people placed their bets on them. But who knew that the Thug Legend still won? Those who won were now sprinkling pearls, throwing them out as if they were free, just because they were happy. Someone exclaimed, "Miracle! A 100-game winning streak in the Blue Sea Arena. This is a miracle." Someone doubted, "The Thug Legend still has the power to fight. Look at Han Fei, he's fine. Zhang Xuanyu still has the power to fight. Luo Xiaobai hasn't even used the blue cannibal flower, nor Lu Renkuang's violent combat skills. They definitely won." Compared with the cheering audience, the faces of the 3 academies were not so good. Many students who came to watch the battle were dumbfounded. Su Yebai, who ranked 8th on the top 100 list. The manipulator who was almost invincible in team battles was defeated and pressed to the ground by Han Fei. At this moment, the people of the First Academy were trying their best to rescue him, casting all kinds of healing techniques on him. When they pulled Su Yebai out of the pit, his limbs were almost all broken, and half of his ribs were broken. Those spirit gatherers couldn't help but be shocked. How much strength did Han Fei use in the last blow? Many people of the First Academy clenched their fists. This was a shame. A student said, "It's a command error. They shouldn't have besieged Han Fei. That guy is just a human-shaped weapon. They can't beat him at all." Someone said angrily, "What was Han Fei's last blow? What kind of combat skill was that big seal phantom? How could it be so strong?" In the crowd, He Xiaoyu, Wang Baiyu, Xiang Nan, Xia Wushuang, and the others were lying on the railing in a daze. Before, Xia Shaochan said that when Han Fei entered the Fourth Academy, he had to hold on for 10 minutes under the siege of 4 people. Now it seemed that it was more than that. What kind of freakish physique was that? Xiang Nan swallowed. They're all monsters. Han Fei killed 3 of them alone. Xia Xiaochan's second spiritual beast is extremely powerful. That big fish almost killed all of us with its mouth. Han Fei waved his hands and waved at the audience. Lu Renkuang also waved. The 2 of them were very happy. Finally, they could stop fighting every day. The host said, "Look, student Han Fei." Student Lu Renkuang raised his hands happily. "Let our hands sway along with them." Han Fei? Han Fei looked at the host. This person has the potential to be a DJ. If there were light sticks, would everyone wave the light sticks in their hands and shake them together? The host was indeed very excited because he was the host of the miracle of 100 consecutive victories. In the future, it would be written on the major events of the Blue Sea town over the years. The host continued, "During this period of time, the Thug legend has won incredible battles one after another. They have been injured and bled, but they have never been absent. Excuse me, what made them successful?" The host was going to answer his own question, but before he could answer, Han Fei shouted anxiously, "The secret of success is to persevere and win. After many triumphs, you have succeeded." The host? The audience? Lu Renkuang also shouted, "The secret of success is to eat more. A strong physique cannot be separated from the support of delicious food." In the corner of the auditorium, Xiao Zhan covered his face. "It seems that we have to take more cultural classes in the future. If we say it that way, at least it will be more philosophical." Old Bai blew his beard angrily. "These little guys are getting arrogant. Let's go back and let them feel what failure is." In the sky, the presidents of the 3 academies all looked gloomy. This time they couldn't stop the rise of the Fourth Academy. In the past, the Fourth Academy had recruited students. Occasionally, there would be 1 or 2. But 1 or 2 were not enough. Who knew that they would recruit 5 people this year? Where the hell did these 5 people come from? The mayor, on the other hand, was deep in thought. Although Han Fei was amazing, he only had strong defense and strength. Although he was a genius, he had seen him before. And Xia Shaochan puzzled him. He felt that he had seen that big fish in an ancient book. But it was too long ago and he couldn't remember it. Han Fei and Lu Renkuang wanted to have fun, and Zhang Xuanyu wanted to join them. But before they continued, they were dragged into the backfield by Luo Xiaobai with vines. Bao Jin, with 2 rows of attendants, lined up to welcome them. Luo Xiaobai frowned. "What are you doing?" Bao Jin smiled apologetically. "As the first team to win 100 games in a row in more than 30 years, please accept the Medal of Honor from our Blue Sea Arena. This is an honor worthy of commemoration." Lu Renkuang and Zhang Xuanyu looked happy. What he said made sense. They had to keep the medal so that they could brag about it to others in the future. Xia Shaochan, who was still a little weak, said unhappily, "Can't it be a bonus? You can take out tens of thousands of mid-quality pearls. It's better than this." Han Fei agreed very much. "The medal can't be sold for money. The bonus is more practical." Bao Jin was speechless. "This is an honor. Besides, we opened this arena to make money. There was no bonus before." However, Bao Jin made a prompt decision. "Yes, Yes, of course there is a bonus, but not tens of thousands of mid-quality pearls. Only 10,000 mid-quality pearls. Xia Xiaochan's eyes lit up. 10,000 per person? Bao Jin was embarrassed. A total of 10,000. Xia Xiaochan suddenly lost interest. That's too little. It's not enough to buy a suit of clothes. With that, Xia Xiaochan suddenly looked at Han Fei. What about the clothes you want to make for me? Han Fei blinked. Do you still remember this? Didn't I say this on the spot when I bought the clothes? Luo Xiaobai looked at the ruined clothes on her body and frowned. The clothes can be made. When Luo Xiaobai saw the cheongsam, she liked it. If Han Fei could make better clothes, she would also like it. Han Fei said impatiently, let's go back. Let's go to eat hot pot first? I want clothes. Han Fei said grumpily, go to the hot pot restaurant to get your salary first. Don't forget that you still have 10% of the shares. With that said, the few of them walked forward. Only Zhang Xuanyu leaned over to Bao Jin, took the medal and stuffed it into his pocket, saying, that bonus. I'll send it to the 4th Academy. Bao Jin looked at these little guys and suddenly clapped his mouth. Why did you give me a prize for your cheap mouth? A bunch of people who don't lack money. Don't you know that it's not easy for us to earn money? Chapter 174. The Thug Academy rose again. Countless people went to the school to ask if they could let their children in. Unfortunately, Xiao Zhan blocked the way alone, saying that only great fishing masters, exotic spiritual beasts, and those who considered themselves geniuses had a chance to enter. Otherwise, he would come back next year. At this moment, Han Fei was desperate. He thought that the source of Xia Xiaochan's happiness was money, so he took them to the fish dragons to get their share of the money. Everyone got more than 8,000 mid-quality pearls and clamored to go to the Linglong Tower. Han Fei didn't want to buy anything from the Linglong Tower. It was too expensive, but the other 4 were willing to buy it. Seeing that Xia Xiaochan wanted to buy clothes, Han Fei immediately said, cloth, cloth. Xia Xiaochan tilted her head and looked at Han Fei. Can you really do it? Han Fei nodded helplessly. Anyway, it's better than yours and it's cheaper. Xia Xiaochan's eyes lit up. Really? Without waiting for Han Fei to answer, Xia Xiaochan pointed to the waiter and said, bring up all your good fabrics. Don't take the bad ones. The one who received them was still the beautiful woman Yuling from last time. At this moment, Yuling looked at Han Fei and said, congratulations, students, for winning a 100-game winning streak in the Blue Sea Arena. You can enjoy a 10% discount at the Linglong Tower today. We want cloth. Yuling waved her hand, and someone responded and left. Yuling said, Brother Han Fei, why don't you sell us the clothes you designed this time? As for the price, I can offer 200,000 mid-quality pearls. The medal in Zhang Xuanyu's hand fell to the ground. Lu Renkuang staggered and quickly supported Zhang Xuanyu. The 2 girls were dumbfounded. 200,000 mid-quality pearls? If Old Bai were here, he would definitely force Han Fei to sell it. Han Fei rolled his eyes. You want to use us as your spokespersons? Don't even think about it. Yuling, image spokesperson? This is a new term. I won't sell it. I don't want to be seen all over the street wearing the same clothes as us. If that's the case, how can we highlight our unique temperament? Xia Xiaochan immediately responded, yes, only we can wear it. No one else can. Lu Renkuang agreed, yes, we don't lack money. Yuling sighed softly. It was a pity that such a good set of clothes was going to be used on a few brats. However, thinking of the recent rise of the fish dragons, Yuling was indeed surprised. The gang from the village had spent 200,000 mid-quality pearls on the market of the Blue Sea Town. During the month, the Fish Dragon Hot Pot restaurant and the Fish Dragon cards became famous throughout the Blue Sea Town and made a lot of money. It was said that he made at least 400,000 mid-quality pearls in a month. His ability to make money was terrifying. Yuling had to smile and said, then if you want to cooperate with me in the future, please come to the Linglong Tower. We can still work together for $1 million business. Xia Xiaochan and the others widened their eyes. $1 million deal? This number was a little too big. Zhang Xuanyu and the others could only swallow their saliva. Was making clothes so profitable? He didn't know if it was too late to change professions. Han Fei waved his hand. No, we are a small business and can't afford to make big moves. But does the Linglong Pagoda sell any Dharma treasures? Yuling's eyes lit up. Of course, the magic treasures are on the 5th floor. Little friend Han, do you want to come? Zhang Xuanyu nodded. Look, I haven't seen a magic treasure yet. Lu Renquang nodded. Yes, it depends. How much is one? Usually, it ranges from 50,000 to 100,000. An ultra-quality magic treasure may cost 200,000 mid-quality pearls. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air before they even went up. Should they go or not? They couldn't afford it. Even if they sold the fish dragons, they couldn't afford a few. Luo Xiaobai asked, didn't you say last time that a spiritual weapon was only 100,000 mid-quality pearls? Last time, it was an exchange. I'm optimistic about student Han Fei, so the price is naturally low. Normally, a spiritual weapon is at least 200,000 mid-quality pearls and can even go up to 1,000,000. Han Fei twitched his mouth. It's really easy to make money. He felt that it was necessary to open another fish dragon blacksmith shop in the future to forge spiritual weapons. He could make a fortune in minutes. On the 5th floor of the Linglong Pagoda, everyone looked at the sparkling weapons, and none of them could move an inch. Han Fei also took a fancy to a bow, but when he looked at the price, it was 720,000 mid-quality pearls. He immediately gave up. This is too damn expensive. I can't afford it. I can't afford it. Yuling asked, do you like it? Everyone looked at Han Fei, and Han Fei said calmly, what are these made of? Yuling pointed to the bow in front of Han Fei. This is made of purple gold. But the most important thing is not the purple gold, but the craftsmanship of the blacksmith. In terms of purple gold alone, this bow is less than 300,000 mid-quality pearls. Han Fei was shocked. The material cost is so expensive? Immediately, a look of chagrin appeared on his face. Back then, in the gate of the hexagon starfish, he seemed to have seen this material. At that time, he thought it was an amethyst, but it turned out to be purple gold. Han Fei's face turned pale. I can't afford it. Let's go. Xia Xiaochan, have you chosen the cloth? Xia Xiaochan had already given up when she saw the price and said indifferently, didn't you choose? By the way, I want a set of red clothes, a set of white clothes, and a set of green clothes. Han Fei's face was black. Why don't you want all the colors? Xia Xiaochan blinked at Han Fei and said faintly, can I? Han Fei covered his head. What a spendthrift woman. Luo Xiaobai also said, I want white. At most, you can add a little other color. Lu Renquang said happily, I want. Han Fei quickly interrupted, no, you don't want it. Lu Renquang? A day later, Han Fei ran out of the closed cave, holding a pile of clothes. Han Fei was a little tired. It was like raising a daughter or a lover. He had to buy them beautiful clothes. But now that they had nice clothes, they would have more. He wanted beautiful hair ropes, beautiful hairpins, and beautiful jewelry. Anyway, these things were simple. There were all kinds of gems here, and black iron was not expensive. Purple gold was too expensive. Han Fei bought one the size of half a fist and spent 30,000 mid-quality pearls. In order not to be disturbed by Xia Xiaochan, who always liked to sneak attack, Han Fei also specially sealed the entrance of the cave. Of course, he didn't just want to make clothes. He just threw the clothes into the demon purification pot, threw some materials in, and then came up with a plan in his mind. It didn't take much time. His purpose in entering was naturally to refine magic treasures. Han Fei suspected that the difficulty of the second brocade sachet was much more difficult than the 100-game winning streak in the arena. He had to change his weapons. Then he took out the purple jade and the purple gold fish bones he got from the hexagon starfish. In the end, he only refined 2 mid-quality magic knives. With the remaining materials, he refined a total of 5 palm-sized magic knives in preparation for the million knife art. No way! As soon as Han Fei arrived at the treehouse, he saw Xia Xiaochan appear with a swish. Xia Xiaochan stared at the clothes in Han Fei's hand. They look very beautiful, colorful. Han Fei scoffed, 3 sets for you and 3 sets for Xiaobai, Lu Renkuang wailed. Han Fei, you're too much. Don't you want to make any for me? I'm your brother. Zhang Xuanyu said, Fei Fei, our brotherhood ends here today. Let's call it a day. Han Fei said angrily, get the fuck down. You're not little girls. Each of you only has 1 set. Zhang Xuanyu jumped down. Only 1 set? It's a little too few. Fei Fei, we should open a shop specializing in selling clothes. Otherwise, we'll break 1 set every time we fight. Han Fei sneered. I'm afraid you're the one who keeps wanting new clothes to wear, right? Go, find the ultra-quality materials yourself. I'll make you a set of magic treasure-level clothes. If you can't find the materials, I won't care. Lu Renkuang didn't mind. He just wanted to have fun. For fat people, clothes were used to cover their bodies. Anyway, he didn't think fat people looked good in any clothes. After a while, Lu Renkuang jumped out of the treehouse with a howl. Hey, this is it. It perfectly covers my perfect figure. Very stylish. Zhang Xuanyu also came down from the treehouse at this moment, looking elegant. Han Fei gave him a fan and held it in his hand, but he proudly unfolded the fan with a swish, looking like a toy boy. Then, Luo Xiaobai came out, wearing a white traditional Chinese dress with a pink tunic and neckline, like a little fairy. Zhang Xuanyu drooled at the sight of her. Luo Xiaobai blushed slightly. No matter how aloof a girl was, she was still a girl. All girls liked beautiful clothes, and Luo Xiaobai was no exception. It could be seen that she liked them very much. At this moment, Xia Xiaochan shouted, Han Fei, come in. I don't know how to wear them. Everyone? Lu Renkuang mumbled, that's a lot of information. Chapter 175. Everyone looked at Han Fei strangely and then at Xia Xiaochan's treehouse, swallowing from time to time. Luo Xiaobai frowned slightly. Puppy love? That's too early. All of a sudden, Xia Xiaochan popped up, wearing a white and red Han costume. The upper body was white with red embellishments on the cuffs, neckline, buttons, and some carvings. The lower body was a knee-length red skirt, neither short nor long, revealing her 2 white legs. Zhang Xuanyu was speechless. Zhang Xuanyu stared at Xia Xiaochan and patted Han Fei's arm. Fei Fei, brother, let's go open a clothing store. We can definitely beat the Linglong Tower. A set of clothes is not expensive, 5,000 mid-quality pearls. Han Fei was speechless. Zhang Xuanyu smacked his lips. But, Xia Xiaochan, why is your hair down? What's that thing on your head? Han Fei was speechless. He made a phoenix hairpin with pearls, purple gold and gems, but she just put it on her head. Don't you have an aesthetic sense? Xia Xiaochan snorted. I don't know how to do it. Do I need to tell you? Han Fei, come and help me fix my hair. Everyone's eyes became strange again. Zhang Xuanyu said, it should not be the first time. Lu Renkuang nodded. Definitely not. Luo Xiaobai, Zhang Xuanyu rubbed his hands and said, Xiaobai, do you want me to fix your hair? Han Fei climbed into Xia Xiaochan's treehouse and said, aren't you good at fixing your hair? Xia Xiaochan shook her head. No, this thing can't go in. Xia Xiaochan fiddled with the phoenix hairpin, holding a cluster of red tassels in her hand. Han Fei smiled bitterly. This is not suitable for this set of clothes. But look carefully, I'll teach you once. After a while, Han Fei braided Xia Xiaochan's long hair into 2 twisted braids. Have you learned it? Xia Xiaochan blinked. Okay, I'm unwrapping it. The clothes you're wearing should match these. The red tassels are hanging above the left ear, and the 2 hairy balls are hanging on the braids. Look, it's still a braid, but when we bend it, it turns into a loop. Look, isn't it good now? Will you? Xia Xiaochan was stunned. Xia Xiaochan grabbed the earring again and said, I don't have pierced ears. Han Fei smiled. Then why don't you do it yourself? Xia Xiaochan shook her head. No, that's my own flesh. I can't do it. Han Fei didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You can't do it yourself, so you let me do it? After a while. Xia Xiaochan's treehouse. But Han Fei, you hurt me. I'm going to kill you. Don't move. It's the first time, of course, but it won't happen again. Can't you be gentle? I'm already very light. If I'm any lighter, I won't be able to stab it in. Below. The three of them widened their eyes and looked up, blinking their eyes. Zhang Xuanyu swallowed hard. Should we retreat? I don't understand. What are they talking about? Luo Xiaobai asked, why does it bleed? Zhang Xuanyu was speechless at the two idiots around him. Can't you be a little more sensible? Why don't you understand anything? After a while, Han Fei ran out, muttering, I'll never pierce girls' ears again. Blah blah, puff, Zhang Xuanyu was shocked. How could someone pierce their ears like this? So unbelievable. Less than half a minute later, Xia Xiaochan jumped out of the treehouse. Suddenly, a cute little girl appeared in front of everyone. Her hair was braided, there were 2 furry balls behind her, a strand of red tassel on her left ear, and 2 red earrings hanging from her ears. She was wearing a white coat with wide sleeves and a pleated skirt with red tassels. She was a pretty little girl. When he jumped down, his wrists and the back of his head made a ringing sound. Zhang Xuanyu glanced at Luo Xiaobai. Sure enough, this differential treatment is a bit serious. Luo Xiaobai didn't hear what Zhang Xuanyu said and stepped forward curiously. Xiaochun, what are you wearing on your hand? Xia Xiaochan grinned. A bracelet, a little bell bracelet. Luo Xiaobai asked, did Han Fei get this red earring too? Yes. Didn't he make it for you? Xiaobai, your white clothes are so beautiful. Luo Xiaobai turned to Han Fei and stretched out her hand. Bell bracelet. Han Fei? Han Fei was speechless. You two are not the same. It doesn't matter if she wears that bracelet, but if you wear it, it will ruin your cold temperament. Don't point your finger at me. Do you want an ankle bracelet? Luo Xiaobai asked. There are bracelets? Han Fei took out a slender ankle bracelet. This bracelet was originally prepared for Xia Xiaochan, but he guessed that Xia Xiaochan was an ADHD girl. If she sneaked up on others every day, she would be killed in minutes. But Luo Xiaobai was quiet. After thinking for a while, she buckled the ankle bracelet on her foot. As soon as she walked, the bell rang. Xia Xiaochan asked, what about mine? Han Fei replied, you don't need it. Even if I give you 10 ankle bracelets, you can still kick them away. Zhang Xuanyu and Lu Renkuang stared at him. They didn't dare to say or ask, can't we have bells? In order to keep up with these guys, Han Fei put on a set of fashionable antique clothes. With such a combination, the 5 of them stood together in a nondescript manner. Each person had their own style, and they walked out with their own style. Thud, thud, 3 figures floated down from the sky and landed. Xiao Zhan was holding a brocade bag in his hand, staring at the 5 of them and froze. Wenren stepped forward. Xiaochun, Xiaobai, where did you buy the clothes? How much is it? Which famous designer made it? Luo Xiaobai said flatly, Han Fei made it. Xia Xiaochan asked, Ms. Wenren, do I look good? Jingle. Xia Xiaochan was still shaking the bracelet she had just gotten in front of Wenren. Wenren pushed her hand away and walked straight to Han Fei. You can make clothes. And jewelry? Han Fei had a bad feeling. A little. Wenren asked, what do you think I should wear? What do you think of black? But it can't be pure black. It's too serious. How about some red? Old Bai coughed. Ms. Wenren, what are you doing? Only then did Wenren remember why she was here. She took a deep look at Han Fei and then stood back. Xiao Zhan had already come back to his senses. These kids, he had never seen such unconventional students before. Interesting. Xiao Zhan continued, since you have completed the assessment of the Blue Sea Arena, you are qualified to get the second brocade bag. However, you still have many shortcomings. For example, Xia Xiaochan, in the last game, you used the giant arowana. Why did you still fight in close combat with the opponent? As a result, you were poisoned and fell down on the spot. Are you ashamed? For example, Zhang Xuanyu, you even tied with a spirit gatherer. I really feel ashamed for you. Zhang Xuanyu continued. He is a dual cultivator. Besides, he is an advanced great fishing master. But Xiao Zhan scoffed. Then why don't you ask why you are so weak? Xiao Zhan continued. This time, the result of 100 consecutive victories in the Blue Sea Arena is only average. Only one of the top 10 students of the 3 academies came. What if this team is made up of the top 10 opponents? What are your chances of winning? There was only a 50-50 chance of that happening. How can you defeat the 36 towns with such a low level? Blah blah. Xiao Zhan was tired of talking and looked at Old Bai. Say something? Old Bai nodded and then said to them, since you won the Blue Sea Arena, you won. It's not a big deal. Let me ask you a few questions. Chapter 176. Old Bai raised a finger and took 2 steps forward. First question, have you studied your spiritual beasts carefully? Han Fei and the others were all surprised. What kind of question was this? Of course we've studied our spiritual beasts. Old Bai sneered. That's not research. Just like Xia Shaochan doesn't know what abilities the giant arowana has, and Lu Renquang doesn't know how to use the spiritual clam, you can't even master the basic abilities of your spiritual beasts. Are you geniuses? Without giving Han Fei and the others a chance to refute, Old Bai continued. Guess, when you become stronger and stronger, the demonic fish in the sea will also become smarter. Can you still catch fish? The more difficult it is to catch fish, the harder it is to catch them. Where do you think the real road of a fishing master lies? Hearing this, everyone pondered for a while. They had never considered this problem. Fishes were silly, so he could just use the bait to catch them. Luo Xiaobai asked, is there any other way besides fishing? Old Bai chuckled. You are fishing with your hands, and most of the fish you catch are ordinary demonic fish. But some people don't need bait. They just need to wave their fishing hooks and catch purple gold mines from 100 kilometers away. How do you think they fish? Han Fei and the others were shocked. Can they fish for minerals? How is he supposed to fish? That's not a living thing. Old Bai continued, I'm telling you this just to make you think about it. Old Bai continued, the third question, have you ever thought about how a great fishing master or a dangling fisher can be considered as a cultivator? Zhang Xuanyu asked, isn't a fishing master a cultivator? Lu Renquang nodded. Fishing masters can cultivate combat skills, higher cultivation methods, and even secret skills. Old Bai pulled his beard and sneered. Fishing masters are nothing. Ms. Wenren, explain it to them. Wenren Yu stood up and smiled. Do you know why you didn't even know the other realms above great fishing masters and dangling fishers before? Maybe you have occasionally heard of hanging fishers, hidden fishers, or even other titles. But that's just hearsay. Because your knowledge will determine your height. Wenren Yu suddenly said seriously, fishermen and fishing masters are the bottom of this world. They didn't need to know anything. They just needed to live and fish for the rest of their lives. Above fishing masters, the realms are divided into great fishing master, dangling fisher, hanging fisher, hidden fisher, law enforcer, explorer, and so on. There are also powerful venerable level experts. Luo Xiaobai asked, why? Wenren Yu explained, being a great fishing master is just a transitional stage. It can't be regarded as the real beginning of cultivation. Only by becoming a dangling fisher could one truly embark on the path of fishing cultivation. Fishing was not as simple as fishing for demonic fish. When the time comes, when your strength is sufficient, you will naturally understand. As for hanging fishers, as the name suggested, some of them could already stand in the air. Just like the angels who went to the awakening ceremony in your village, they had wings on their backs. Some were hanging fishers, some hidden fishers. Wenren Yu talked for a long time and Han Fei finally concluded that fishing masters and great fishing masters were at the bottom of fishing cultivators. They were mainly responsible for teaching ordinary students and fishermen in the villages. The angler had just discovered the true meaning of fishing. Hanging fishers already had the ability to fly into the sky and dive into the sea, but they didn't have enough confidence and strength, so they couldn't transcend fishing itself. Hidden fishers could really fly into the sky and dive into the sea, explore relics, dig treasures, and search for mysterious resources in the sea. They were the main force in exploring the known sea area. Law enforcers were powerful. Those who were strong usually served as leaders. Wenren Yu didn't say what kind of mysterious leader they would be, and no one knew. Explorers were the most mysterious, and the known sea area could no longer satisfy them. They would explore the unknown sea, which was full of adventures and dangers. That place was unknown, and everything there was mysterious. Only those who reached the level of explorer were qualified to go there. Further up, there was the venerable level. Wenren didn't say anything. Obviously, that seemed to be a little far away from her. Therefore, after everyone heard this, their first thought was not about those unreachable realms, but rather, what kind of cultivation path is fishing? She threw a brocade pouch to Han Fei and the others. Everyone opened it and saw 3 messages listed on it. First, explore the actual combat use of spiritual beasts. Second, comprehend the true meaning of fishing. There was nothing on the third point, only the word, third. Everyone was dumbfounded when they saw this. Wenren pointed to the brocade pouch in Xiao Zhan's hand. When you get the 6th brocade pouch, you'll know. If you can't get it, just graduate. There's no need to know more. Even if you force yourself to know, it will only do more harm than good. You can only serve as cannon fodder for the fishing cultivators. At this moment, everyone was a little excited. Before, no one told them these things. Even the village leader didn't know it himself. Who else could they ask? Now that they heard the secrets of different realms, how could they not be excited? In everyone's view, none of the realms mentioned by Old Bai could be reached casually. Only after advancing to a fisher would they get involved in the first secret of the cultivation world. And this was just the first one. Han Fei suddenly asked, "Teacher, can you explain weapons to us?" I heard that there are magic weapons and spiritual weapons in the Linglong Tower, but why don't I see anyone using them? Wenren sneered. Can you afford them? Then if you want to buy them, you can buy a few. Puff! Wenren and Xiao Zhan's faces turned green. What do you mean you can buy a few? Wenren asked. Do you know that a high-quality spiritual weapon is even worth millions of mid-quality pearls? Can your fish dragons afford it? Then at least if we meet it in the future, we'll know. Wenren shook her head helplessly. In fact, magic weapons are much more powerful than ordinary weapons. High-quality and ultra-quality magic weapons are also very powerful. For example, a great fishing master of the same realm as you may break your defense with a magic weapon. If the other party is an advanced or peak-level great fishing master, he should be able to stab you with a magic weapon. Wow, everyone gasped. Piercing through Han Fei? Are you kidding me? Xia Xiaochan's eyes lit up. How can I get a magic weapon? Han Fei, can you lend me some money? I want to buy 2 magic daggers. Han Fei rolled his eyes. Do you want me to lend you money to stab me? Don't even think about it. No money. Han Fei asked, what about spiritual weapons? Wenren looked at Han Fei up and down. Spiritual weapons can stab you at will. Besides, spiritual weapons have spirituality. They will recognize their owners. Their owners can sense the existence of their spiritual weapons from thousands of miles away. Unless the connection between the spiritual weapon and its owner is cut off, such as a small space like a sea-swallowing seashell. Han Fei asked, what about spiritual weapons? Wenren said grumpily, are you done? What's above spiritual weapons? Above spiritual weapons are divine weapons and exotic treasures. Not many people have seen that thing before. Han Fei chuckled and scratched his flattened belly. So, the 3 magic weapons in my hands are already very strong? No, I have to find a way to get a spiritual weapon. This is the real way to save my life. Seeing Han Fei stop, Wenren continued to preach. Usually, when you are a fisher, you can't get in touch with any combat skills and weapons. When you become a fishing master, you'll only see some low-level combat skills. And when you become a great fishing master, you've seen the heritage of our Thug Academy and countless cultivation methods. The strongest cultivation method can reach the heaven level, which is incomparable to the other 3 academies. Then Wenren said seriously, and I have to tell you not to rely too much on combat skills. Combat skills are just a means of combat. When you fight, the situation changes rapidly. Sometimes the effect of low-level combat skills may not be worse than that of heaven-level combat skills. Everyone was thinking, that's true, but who doesn't want the best? Luo Xiaobai asked. Mortal level, mystic level, spirit level, demon level, heaven level. What happens after that? Wenren Yu continued. After that? It's okay to tell you. Maybe you will also have your own opportunities. Above the heaven level is the venerable level, but it's very rare. Even in the city, ordinary heavenly talents can at most get a heaven-level combat skill, or at most a venerable level. Even in a city, there won't be a heavenly talent with a venerable level combat skill. Han Fei swallowed. There are so few venerables? Han Fei suddenly realized that the indestructible body seemed to be at the venerable level. Just this deduction required 100 million points of spiritual energy. If he really deduced it, what level would it be? Han Fei asked, Teacher, is there a division of grades within each level? Wenren Yu nodded. Not a big deal. There are only 3 grades, plus an ultra quality. Han Fei asked, Is the highest grade the ultra quality? Wenren Yu was about to nod, but Old Bai said, No. It's said that there is a divine quality above the ultra quality, but at least we haven't seen it. We haven't seen it, and theoretically, it doesn't exist in the city. Even if it does exist, there are only a few people. Chapter 177. He couldn't help but feel excited. It wasn't until today that he fully understood the relationship between realms, combat skills, and weapons. He also understood why Luo Xiaobai, Xia Shaochan, and the others were the best fighters, even though their spiritual heritage and spiritual beasts were not bad. There was no other reason. In the end, it was still the combat skills that were strong, so strong that they were explosive. Old Bai said, I just want to supplement your knowledge of the cultivation world. However, you don't have to think too much because many things are out of reach. Okay, the 3 questions, I think you've already understood what it means to be a fishing master. Before becoming a dangling fisher, you are all cannon fodder. If you don't become a dangling fisher as the strongest fishing master, you are still cannon fodder. As for the first question and the second question, you need to study them yourself. Luo Xiaobai asked, President, about the second question, if fishing masters don't fish demonic fish, what do they fish for? Old Bai replied, It's not that we don't fish for demonic fish, but can't you fish for anything else besides demonic fish? There are billions of treasures hidden in the infinite ocean. You don't even look for treasures, but fish every day. Do you want to eat them? Old Bai looked at them speechlessly. I've already said it like that, so why can't you wrap your head around it? Old Bai left angrily. Wenren Yu gave a weird smile and then also left. Xiao Zhan sighed and looked at them. Like you, I thought fishing was simply fishing for demonic fish, but it's not. Let me ask you, if a place in the sea is abnormally rich in spiritual energy, what will you do? Lu Renkuang immediately replied, There must be something good. Of course we'll jump down to look for it. Xiao Zhan's face was black. Shut up. Luo Xiaobai wondered, Do we fish? Xiao Zhan smiled. Can't we fish? When you enter the level 3 fishery one day, do you really think there will be fish stupidly coming to eat your fish hooks? He thought of the hexagon starfish. That thing was very cunning. When it needed his help, it would give all kinds of benefits to others. As soon as it was freed, it would run away. Han Fei thought for a moment. So, in the end, it's not that we are fishing, but that there is no limit to the kind of fishing. We can also fish for demonic fish and treasures. Anyway, we can fish for all the good things. Xiao Zhan replied, In your dreams. You have to be strong enough to do that. I won't say what kind of cultivation technique you guys use. Everyone has their own opportunities. Although the cultivation method was different, the result was the same. For example, if you practice the true spirit fishing art, you should learn how to control water. You need to fish according to the pulse of water and the intensity of spiritual energy. I don't need to teach you this kind of thing. Go and try it yourself. Everyone was taken aback. Teacher, can we go to sea now? Xiao Zhan replied, Otherwise, why would I stay here? You still want to fight in the arena? However, you need to know why you're here. I'm not asking you to fish for demonic fish, but to study your spiritual beasts thoroughly and see if you can understand the true meaning of fishing. Yay, we can finally go out to sea. Xia Shaochan was overjoyed. Should we go now? Luo Xiaobai's eyes glittered. No rush. Let's see if there's anything we need to prepare. Zhang Xuanyu said, I need a day. I want a day too. Lu Renkuang added, then I want a day too. You all have something to do, but I don't. I've decided to eat hot pot for a day. Xia Xiaochan rolled her eyes at Lu Renkuang. It's not like I won't come back. Lu Renkuang smacked his lips. That's different. I'll come back to eat and I'll leave to eat. Xia Xiaochan was speechless. Foodie. That night, Lu Renkuang went to the hot pot restaurant. Xia Xiaochan took Luo Xiaobai's hand and prepared to go shopping for a day. Han Fei locked himself in the cave and no one knew what he was doing. Zhang Xuanyu disappeared magically with thousands of mid-quality pearls. The first academy, full name Blue Sea Academy. He Xiaoyu and Wang Baiyu were both here. At this moment, He Xiaoyu was training with Wang Baiyu. She decided to become a hunter. Clang, 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 Wang Baiyu suggested. He Xiaoyu, why don't you be a soul warrior? Your talent is very suitable for a soul warrior. He Xiaoyu shook her head. No, I want to be a hunter. He Xiaoyu's attacks were all blocked by Wang Baiyu in vain. However, Wang Baiyu was also very surprised. His talent should be higher than He Xiaoyu's, but why was He Xiaoyu so strong? It was completely beyond the strength that a girl should have. Just when He Xiaoyu was sweating, a girl hurriedly ran over. Xiaoyu, Xiaoyu, Han Fei from the 4th Academy is looking for you. He seems to have a conflict with someone from our school. He Xiaoyu, huh? He Xiaoyu jumped up. I'm going to take a bath. Wang Baiyu scoffed. What bath? You've been classmates for 4 years. Haven't you seen each other? He Xiaoyu snorted. It's none of your business. At the gate of the 1st Academy, a group of people surrounded Han Fei. Someone said angrily, Han Fei, what do you mean? You defeated our 1st Academy and now you want to provoke us? Han Fei replied, don't flatter yourself. I'm looking for someone. The man was furious. Bullshit. Last night, Zhang Xuanyu also came to look for someone. Then he abducted Hu Karen from the 1st Academy. You're looking for someone again? Who do you want to abduct? Han Fei? Han Fei was dumbfounded. What? You mean Zhang Xuanyu has been here? And abducted her? Han Fei recalled and immediately slapped his thigh. Damn bastard, this guy really came to look for that little girl? Is he crazy? Han Fei pretended to be calm. I'm different from him. I don't abduct people. I'm looking for He Xiaoyu. As soon as he said this, dozens of people were angry. How the fuck did he say he didn't abduct people? Isn't He Xiaoyu a girl from our school? And she's a pretty girl. Not only the boys were boycotting him, but also some girls came out to defend him. Scumbag, you're obviously in love with Xia Xiaochan, but you're still hooking up with a girl from our school. Han Fei's face darkened. Girl, you have to be responsible for your words. He Xiaoyu and I are both classmates from the Heavenly Water Village. I have something to talk to her about. Can't I? The girl responded, no, now our whole school is boycotting the 4th Academy. A girl echoed, yes, boycotting thugs. A boy sneered. Yes, I won't give you a chance to cheat on her. Han Fei was speechless. Fuck you. If you keep talking, I'll beat you up. The boy immediately grasped the long knife on his waist. Sure enough, your purpose is not pure. You still want to pick a fight with me. Han Fei rolled his eyes. I don't want to talk to you. Now I know why the 1st Academy is so weak. Look at you. You don't cultivate but boycott this and that every day. Too much, too arrogant. A group of people scolded him, but no one dared to hit him. They had seen the battles of the thug legend, especially Han Fei, who slapped Su Yebai half to death. They couldn't beat him, so they could only scold him. Get out of the way. What are you doing? He Xiaoyu walked out of the crowd angrily. A girl said, He Xiaoyu, we are enemies with the 4th Academy. Don't support the enemy. A girl took He Xiaoyu's hand. Yes, he wants to cheat on her. Last night, Hu Karen was tricked by Zhang Xuanyu to go out and didn't return all night. Today, Han Fei is here. He Xiaoyu shouted, oh, what? I'm good friends with Han Fei. We're classmates. He Xiaoyu broke free from the girl's hand and ran to Han Fei. What's wrong? Why did you suddenly come to me? Han Fei said, let's go. Follow me. Behind him, a group of boys and girls of the First Academy beat their chests and stamped their feet. They couldn't resist the temptation. They could only watch Han Fei abduct He Xiaoyu. A girl suggested, they can come to our school to abduct people. Can't we abduct people from the Thug Academy? Which boy would be willing to go? Next to her, several boys put their arms around each other's shoulders. Hey, I feel that my strength has improved recently. Let's go practice? You feel it too? Yes, I feel it too. Let's practice. Well, I feel that I'm about to master the stick technique. When I master it, I'll fight my way to the Fourth Academy. After a bunch of messy excuses, there was only a group of girls at the door staring at each other. And those boys snorted. Abduct Violent Cicada and Iceberg Xiaobai? Was there something wrong with those girls' brains? Xia Xiaochan is too violent, not to mention Luo Xiaobai. She's so cold that I can't even tease her. After a moment, in a place where no one was, He Xiaoyu said shyly, Han Fei, what can I do for you? Han Fei looked serious. He had a hunch that this trip would not be simple, and the road to finding the true meaning would not be simple. Han Fei said, He Xiaoyu, I want to tell you a few things. Seeing that Han Fei was not joking, He Xiaoyu couldn't help but panic. Is there something wrong? Han Fei shook his head, not intending to tell her. Nothing, I just came to ask you to do me a few favors. He Xiaoyu? Han Fei continued, first, help me pass the incomplete monograph on 108 ways of body polishing to Wang Baiyu and Xia Wushuang. Han Fei said with a smile, it's not a magical combat skill. Just teach it to me. Second, if you go back to the village recently, help me go to the plantation when you have time. Ask them to help old Jiang clean up the plantation. I may not go back for a while. He Xiaoyu asked worriedly, Han Fei, is there something wrong? Han Fei shook his head. What can happen to me? I just don't have time to go back for secret training. In the end, Han Fei hesitated and handed a jade slip to He Xiaoyu, saying solemnly, if one day you are no longer satisfied with the life pursuit of a great fishing master and you feel that you must become stronger, read this jade slip again. He Xiaoyu took it in surprise and wanted to check it immediately, but the jade slip didn't respond at all. Han Fei continued, you can't open it now. When you become a great fishing master, you can open it. Okay, I'm leaving. Chapter 178. At the departure port, Han Fei and the other four got on their fishing boats and waved goodbye to Xiao Zhan. After they flew away, Old Bai and Wenrenyu emerged from the crowd. Wenrenyu complained, why me? Old Bai scoffed. Who told you to lose the rock-paper-scissors game? Wenrenyu sighed. These people are not easy to settle down. They will definitely go to those places. Old Bai touched his beard. Then let's go. Those places can't kill them. 5 fishing boats sailed in the air. Xia Xiaochan pointed at Han Fei and said, why is your fishing boat so beautiful? Why is our fishing boat so ugly? Han Fei said proudly, someone gave it to me. Xia Xiaochan shouted, that's too much. Han Fei, I want to exchange fishing boats with you. Han Fei rolled his eyes. Go away. Didn't you hear what the teacher said? We're going to the level 2 fishery, not together. We'll meet every 3 days to exchange experiences. Xia Xiaochan grabbed the map with one hand. But why are we going to the level 2 fishery? We can't fish normally and we have to experience the true meaning of fishing. When we get there, we'll study our spiritual beasts first. We really haven't studied them in depth. Lu Renquang looked at Han Fei with a wretched smile. Han Fei, give me some of the barbecue in your sea-swallowing seashell. Han Fei said grumpily, eat, eat, eat. Lu Renquang responded with a smile, otherwise, how lonely it is to be alone on the sea. While everyone was chatting, only Zhang Xuanyu's breathing was unstable, and he seemed a little excited. Han Fei asked contemptuously, Zhang Xuanyu, tell me honestly, where did you go last night? Zhang Xuanyu said faintly, I went to do what a man should do. Xia Xiaochan wondered, what should a man do? Han Fei shrugged. Forget it, Xia Xiaochan, You have to study your giant arowana. That thing attacks indiscriminately. It's a bit troublesome. Xia Xiaochan sighed. I can't control it. It doesn't listen to me. Everyone, Luo Xiaobai frowned. Why doesn't it listen to you? The Blue Sea town was a bit far from the level 2 fishery, unlike the level 3 fishery, where there was a teleportation array. In the level 2 fishery, they could only fly. About 4 hours later, they arrived at the level 2 fishery. The level 2 fishery was much larger than the level 1 fishery. It was a ring that surrounded both the ordinary fishery and the level 1 fishery. Because it was too vast, no one could be seen on the surface of the sea. Perhaps in the Blue Sea arena, one could see great fishing masters every day. But walking on the streets of the Blue Sea town, great fishing masters were rare. Even though there were many great fishing masters, how vast was the level 2 fishery? The probability of them meeting each other was not high. As soon as the fishing boat landed on the water, Luo Xiaobai pointed at the map and said, "Everyone should know where we are now, right?" Han Fei's eyes widened. What the fuck? The teacher was right. This little thing did have a lot of secrets. How the fuck did it open its mouth? Unfortunately, Wenren hadn't seen this scene yet. Otherwise, she would have been scared to death. Although spiritual beasts could communicate with their masters. However, in many cases, spiritual beasts themselves didn't know what abilities they had. They were just using their abilities instinctively. It was for this reason that they needed to be explored. How could they be like Han Fei? How could his spiritual beast show him its new ability just by asking? Han Fei swallowed. What else? What other abilities do you have besides having a big mouth? Little Black circled twice in confusion and suddenly opened his mouth again. This time, it was even more exaggerated, directly opening his mouth to the size of a wash basin. Han Fei was startled again and immediately said angrily, "Do you have any other advantages besides having a big mouth? For example, can you dig for treasures, find treasures, catch exotic demonic fish, and so on?" Little Black was even more confused. He felt that maybe his mouth was not big enough. The next moment, Little Black's body suddenly became at least 3 times bigger. When he opened his big mouth, he could swallow people. Fuck. Han Fei sat on the deck. Little Black? It should be called Big Black. But he was also surprised. Little Black could become bigger? Han Fei asked. Little Black, how big can you become? This time, Little Black seemed to move. His body became bigger and bigger, reaching about 5 times his original size. But even if it was 5 times bigger, it was still less than 2 meters long. After trying for a while, Han Fei found that this guy had no other abilities except for growing bigger and smaller and opening his mouth wide. However, this guy was very good at eating. The whole strip fish lying on the deck was swallowed by him. However, this guy's body size didn't change at all. Han Fei didn't know where he ate. Then Han Fei looked at Little White with a smile. Little White, what abilities do you have? Can you show me? Little White blinked its eyes and spat a mouthful of pure spiritual energy at Han Fei. Han Fei grabbed the spiritual energy, swallowed it into his mouth, and said, Little White, what else can you do? Little White thought Han Fei wanted to see him grow bigger. So it also grew bigger, almost the same size as Little Black, but Little White refused to open its mouth wide. Han Fei was speechless. Come back smaller, come back smaller. You look better when you are smaller. Han Fei took out a low-quality spiritual stone and said patiently, Little White. I mean, apart from growing bigger and smaller, what other abilities do you have? For example, looking for treasures, digging treasures, and so on? Little White stared at the spiritual stone for a while, but Little Black suddenly came up and swallowed the spiritual stone in one gulp. He even chewed it in the corner of his mouth, which had a crunchy feeling. Han Fei immediately said angrily, What are you doing? My low-quality spiritual stone. You foodie, you can eat even more than Luren Kwang. But just after Little Black ate the low-quality spiritual stone, Little White spat out a string of pure spiritual energy, which seemed to be purer than the spiritual stone. Han Fei raised his eyebrows. Han Fei raised his eyebrows. He had long noticed this. In the past, he thought that when Little Black was full, Little White wouldn't spit out spiritual energy. But now it could keep spitting out? But after a while, when Little White stopped spitting out spiritual energy, Han Fei found that a low-quality spiritual stone should have nearly 10,000 points of spiritual energy. But after Little White spat out, there were only 6,000 points left. The point was that Han Fei couldn't absorb these 6,000 points of spiritual energy. His upper limit of spiritual energy had reached 2,199 points, so his body could only bear this much. The rest would be used to store spiritual energy, which was equivalent to a loss for him. The only consolation was that the spiritual energy spat out by Little White nourished his body better than what he could get through cultivation. Han Fei asked, "Anything else?" Chapter 179. Han Fei knew that Little White had another ability, which was to find spiritual energy. He had seen this when he was in the undersea mine. It was Little White who led him to the spiritual stones. Little White jumped into the water. Seeing Little White jump, Little Black also jumped in. Then, Little White swam in one direction with Han Fei. Han Fei frowned. Are they looking for treasures or spiritual energy? After running with Little White for about half an hour, Little White stopped running and began to spin in place. Han Fei frowned and took out his fishing rod without saying a word. Although Old Bai didn't allow them to bring bait this time, after transmitting spiritual energy to the fishing rod, Han Fei could feel a small area underwater through the fishing rod. This was the exclusive ability of void fishing, which others didn't have. The fishing rod went deeper and deeper, sinking nearly 200 meters. Suddenly, Han Fei saw a golden squid fly out with a swish and disappear without a trace in the blink of an eye. Shit! Han Fei didn't know what squid it was, but judging from its speed of escape and its instantaneous reaction, it was definitely not an ordinary squid. Does Little White have the ability to find rare or even exotic creatures? Han Fei looked at Little White with a strange look. If it had this ability, wouldn't he be able to make countless of these creatures? Let them fuse with each other and turn them into mysterious creatures, legendary creatures, or even stronger creatures? Han Fei said hurriedly, "Little White, can you still find it?" Han Fei's eyes were shining and he felt that he was going to make a fortune. The image of himself controlling a large army of legendary creatures appeared in his mind. If that happened, wouldn't the ocean become his home field? If he met an enemy, he would release hundreds of legendary creatures to kill him. Would he be afraid? Little White hesitated for a long time and finally didn't move. Han Fei sensed that Little White couldn't find the other party. Han Fei regretted it. There was once an exotic creature in front of me, but I didn't cherish it. When I scared it away, I regretted it. Unable to find the squid, Han Fei just experimented with the water vein technique for a while and then put away the fishing pole. If the first and second levels of void fishing taught people how to fish, then the third level, water vein technique, taught people how to turn the hook and the fishing line into the pulse of water. In this case, the hook could approach the fish quietly and catch them with the help of the fishing method. However, after trying a few times, it didn't seem to work very well. It was probably because he hadn't grasped the essence. Out of 10 attempts, only one succeeded. Han Fei was not in the mood to practice. He asked Little White many times if he could find the squid. In the end, that damned squid seemed to have disappeared, and there was no way to find it. This spirit-swallowing fish still couldn't see him? He could understand that it couldn't see Little Black because Little Black was invisible. But it couldn't see Little White. Chapter 180. Suddenly, Han Fei's heart began to race. He had another bold idea. The spiritual beasts that had been awakened and summoned were invisible in the Soul Ocean. The primitive spiritual beasts in the Soul Ocean couldn't be seen at all? In order to confirm this idea, Han Fei ran to the swordfish and swam in front of it. It was okay. He plucked up his courage and swam in front of the crayfish. It was okay. In the end, he chased a golden arowana and swam in front of its eyeball for a long time, but it still didn't react. However, maybe Han Fei swam too fast. His tail slapped the golden arowana's eyeball and he was knocked away by the golden arowana. Ha! I'm rich, I'm rich. Since other primitive spiritual beasts can't see me, can I eat them? Han Fei immediately thought of something and returned to Little Black. This time, all the fish that passed by Han Fei went up and gnawed on them. At first, the primitive spiritual beasts that were gnawed just fled in a hurry. In the end, the sudden death of many spiritual beasts finally attracted the attention of other primitive spiritual beasts in this water area. Immediately, the primitive spiritual beasts in this area began to panic. But Han Fei didn't feel anything. He felt as if his brain had been washed by cold water just now, and then he felt that his strength had increased greatly, mainly because of the increase in his bite force. Upgraded. Han Fei was so excited that he couldn't control himself. Originally, he had to feed Little Black every day and slowly let it evolve. As a result, although its advancement speed wasn't very slow, it only leveled up once in a few months. But when he came to this soul ocean and casually ate a few primitive spiritual beasts, he leveled up once. What if he continued to eat? When Han Fei ate nearly 30 primitive spiritual beasts again, he leveled up again. At this time, this area was in an uproar. All the primitive spiritual beasts were fleeing in panic. But Han Fei didn't care. Where can you run to? You're in the light, I'm in the dark. Do you think I'm afraid of you? This time, Han Fei's target changed. He began to choose those exotic and even rare spiritual beasts. Pearlfish, spirit-chasing shrimp, sapphire crab, lightning squid. Although it took him a long time to catch these rare spiritual beasts, he leveled up again after eating only 12 of them. Little Black and Little White directly broke through to level 20. After that, it was still the same. He didn't know how long it had been, but when Little Black and Little White reached level 22, there was not a single fish left. They had all run away. Han Fei was a bit puzzled. There were too few primitive spiritual beasts in his soul ocean. Why is it so weak? Should we move to another place? After swimming for a long time, Han Fei suddenly saw a flash in front of his eyes, and a squid full of tentacles appeared. Name Iron Hook Squid Sun Yang's spiritual beast introduction. The tentacles are like hooks, and the hooks are poisonous. Once you get close, it will be very difficult to escape. Level 27 quality. Rare contains soul power 362 points. Someone else's spiritual beast? Han Fei was hesitating. Should I eat other people's spiritual beasts? Can other people's spiritual beasts be eaten? I can see it. Could it be that the summoned spiritual beasts could see each other in the soul sea? Han Fei thought for a while. Should I take a bite? The iron hook squid also saw Whitey and suddenly hooked over with its hook. Han Fei was shocked. What? I'm still considering whether to eat you or not. How dare you take the initiative to attack me? Whitey's speed was extremely fast, and it quickly dodged. But Han Fei was angry. I didn't intend to eat you, but you attacked me first. But you were the one who attacked first, so you can't blame me. Immediately, Han Fei rushed up and bit off a squid's tentacle. Just when he was about to continue, the spiritual beast swooshed away at an extremely fast speed. Han Fei chased it all the way, but unfortunately, because it could see Whitey, it ran extremely fast. After chasing for a while, Han Fei gave up. This kind of spiritual beast seemed to have some intelligence. Otherwise, it wouldn't have started to escape as soon as it suffered a loss. After swimming for a while, when a large number of primitive spiritual beasts appeared around Han Fei, he began to devour them crazily again. Just when Han Fei felt that he might upgrade at any time, suddenly, Han Fei felt dizzy. When he woke up again, he found that he was sleeping on the deck. Out of the soul sea? At this moment, Han Fei suddenly thought of something. He jumped up from the deck and the two knives in his hands instantly shot out. Someone's here. As soon as Han Fei dodged, an arrow was nailed to the place where he had just slept. Which bastard dares to ruin my plan? Dozens of meters away, a fishing boat was approaching. On the bow of the boat, a man held a longbow and shot 3 arrows again, trying to kill Han Fei. Clang, clang, clang. The 3 arrows were easily blocked by Han Fei. Han Fei twisted his wrists slightly. An advanced great fishing master? The man's face seemed to be full of surprise. He failed to kill him in the state of sneak attack? Run? Needless to say, those who could come to the level 2 fishery were all at least great fishing masters. This man's sneak attack failed, so the first thing he thought of was to run. "Wanna run now? Do you think I don't exist?" Han Fei walked on the wind, waved the fishing rod in his hand, and entangled the man in the blink of an eye. Immediately, the two knives in his hands broke through the air and drew a strange arc in the air. Clang! The man raised his bow to block, but the next moment, the longbow that had accompanied him for many years was directly cut off. "Magic weapon!" The man exclaimed, pulled out a dagger, and hurriedly cut the fishing line that entangled him. However, the fishing line quickly loosened and was taken back by Han Fei. The two knives fell back into his hands and Han Fei had already stepped onto the man's boat. "Little brother, let's talk. Spare my life and I will repay you." Han Fei grinned. Just at the moment when Han Fei smiled, the man attacked again, and Han Fei saw a squid instantly fuse. Han Fei was surprised. Iron hook squid? Han Fei was sure that this was definitely an iron hook squid, which he had just seen. In the air, a big seal phantom slapped down, and the water-stirring seal appeared extremely fast, catching people off guard. At this moment, it smashed the cabin and directly smashed the man into the water. Han Fei put away the water-stirring seal. It seemed that he had used too much force. He hadn't seen what it looked like underwater in the level 2 fishery. Was this man smashed to death? Han Fei stood on the boat and watched for a while. After a few minutes, a head suddenly popped out of the sea, his face covered with blood. "Help, help me." Han Fei didn't move. Standing on the bow, he asked thoughtfully, "Is your name Sun Yang?" "Yes, help, help." The next moment, Sun Yang seemed to be dragged into the sea by something and could never come up again. "I hate untrustworthy people like you the most." Han Fei was not surprised. Back then, after Su Yebai was hit by the water-stirring seal, he passed out. It was not easy for Sun Yang to persist underwater for so long. However, his name was Sun Yang? That was amazing. It was no coincidence that he saw his iron hook squid in the Seoul Ocean, and then met its owner as soon as he woke up. Han Fei felt that he had discovered a big secret, an extremely terrifying secret. When a person was close to him, then the distance between their spiritual beasts in the Seoul Ocean was also very close. The key of the secret was not this, but why could he enter the world where his spiritual beasts were? Since he could enter, could others enter as well? If everyone could enter, then wouldn't the Seoul Ocean also have no guarantee of safety? Regarding this question, he decided to test it when the 5 of them reunited 3 days later. Then, when Han Fei tried to enter the Seoul Ocean again, unfortunately, he couldn't. No matter if he was lying, sleeping, or in a daze, he couldn't enter. Little Black and Little White, like two fools, didn't understand what Han Fei meant at all. They might not even know that they had just been possessed. But Han Fei found that Little Black and Little White had now reached level 22. How long had it been? Looking at the sky, it was probably less than half an hour. And a few months ago, they had just leveled up by 1 level. Han Fei was shocked. In half an hour, they suddenly went from level 17 to level 22. Just how shocking was this leveling speed? Chapter 181. After Han Fei struggled for a long time, the day had turned into night. Today the sea was stormy and the wind was howling. The 3 big moons were half obscured by clouds, and Han Fei's fishing boat was still drifting on the sea. During the day, he didn't feel much difference between the level 1 fishery and the level 2 fishery. Although occasionally some stupid big fish would break out of the water and attack Han Fei for no reason, they were no match for him at all. However, they were no match for him at all, and there were no big shrimps like the tentacle lobster climbing onto the fishing boat. But at night, everything was different. The wind and waves were beating, and from time to time, some squid and cuttlefish would stick to the fishing boat. Unlike the squid and cuttlefish in the ordinary fishery, these squids were very fierce. Smack! A few tentacles several meters long slapped on the deck, and Han Fei's double knives didn't stop. Since nightfall, he had been slashing, and there were hundreds of tentacles in Forge the Universe at this moment. Meow, are you done yet? Can't I have a peaceful night? Little Black, bite these dogs to death. While cursing, Han Fei chopped the annoying tentacles. He raised his knife and the tentacles fell off. In fact, each tentacle was actually extremely powerful, and each claw had the force of 1,000 kilograms. If Han Fei didn't have the double knives in his hands, although he could still fight, it would definitely not be as easy as it was now. About 2 hours later, Han Fei was speechless. The entire boat was almost covered with squids. The only thing that Han Fei was glad about was that squids were not octopuses, otherwise they would be more terrifying than squids. When there were so many squid tentacles that Han Fei didn't want to stuff into Forge the Universe, the whole boat was full of them. Little Black couldn't even eat all of them, so Han Fei could only kick them all into the sea. Suddenly, Han Fei saw Little White anxiously circling around him. His expression changed slightly. Something's here? The next moment, a pale golden phantom swept over in the blink of an eye, and a tentacle swept over. With a sweep, countless tentacles on the hull were gone. Even a squid that had almost climbed onto the boat in front of Han Fei was pulled away. The huge force pulled the fishing boat forward quickly. Han Fei's face changed slightly. Is it the golden squid? Han Fei was shocked. I've been looking for you for a long time, but I couldn't find you. Now you've come to me? Swish! Ignoring the tentacles, while the golden squid was hunting, Han Fei plunged his fishing hook into the water and used the 1,000 twining technique to tie up the squid that was dragged into the water. The moment the fish hook entered the water, the golden cuttlefish did not notice it at first because of the wind and waves and the water vane technique. As soon as the 1,000 coiling silk was activated, it immediately let go of the cuttlefish and tried to escape. Hey, do you think I'll let you escape? The 1,000 twining threads instantly tightened, directly binding the golden squid's 3 tentacles in one go. Yeah, there seemed to be a strange sound underwater. Han Fei was surprised. Could squids make sounds? What kind of squid are you? Buzz. In the blink of an eye, Han Fei was pulled forward and the fishing rod almost fell out of his hand. When Han Fei realized what had happened, he found that the fishing line had been pulled 100 meters away. Damn, so fast. It seemed that his feet were too weak and there were too many tentacles around him. Han Fei gritted his teeth and the fishing boat disappeared instantly. And his whole body was directly thrown dozens of meters away. Plop! Han Fei fell into the sea. Just at the moment when he entered the sea, countless claws stretched out around him. Little Black. A cold light flashed and 5 or 6 tentacles were cut off. Immediately, a water wall appeared in the water, and the water control technique directly blocked dozens of tentacles. Then Han Fei was dragged into the deep sea. Along the way, Han Fei used the wandering dragon art. He grabbed the fishing rod with one hand and made all kinds of strange movements with his body to block various tentacles. Striped fish, bony spur fish, big-headed prawns, and schools of fish. There were countless marine creatures here, much more than in ordinary fisheries. Although there were many marine creatures in ordinary fisheries, they were definitely not so dense. However, in this damn place, the wind and waves were roaring, but the underwater scene was so chaotic. However, Han Fei was certainly not afraid. He couldn't let go of what he had already caught. He used the hook kiss technique to make the hook deeply sink into the body of the golden squid. Han Fei reeled in the line abruptly, only to be pulled towards the golden squid. Swish! Han Fei gritted his teeth. It's too fast, this thing is running too fast. The nearby schools of fish can't catch up with it. Some squid have just stretched out their tentacles and Han Fei has already appeared 20 meters away. What the hell is this squid? How can it run so fast? After a while, Han Fei didn't know where he was. He only saw a large group of corals under the sea, and the squid was dragging him against the corals. Bim, bim, bim. The sand on the seabed flew and the corals shattered. Han Fei didn't know how many corals he had smashed. At this moment, full of anger, he pulled the fishing rod even harder. After a while, he already saw the golden squid more than 10 meters away. It was nearly 3 meters long, and because it ran so fast, The watermarks it left along the way were like knives. But a series of data appeared in front of Han Fei's eyes. There were countless tentacles around him, so dense that he couldn't count them at all. If Little Black hadn't attacked the human-faced crab, Han Fei would have been entangled in the water for a while. Puff! The white fishing boat appeared on the sea. Han Fei lay on the boat and gasped for breath. It was really not easy to catch exotic creatures, far more difficult than rare creatures. Chapter 182. After lying on the fishing boat for less than 5 minutes, Han Fei felt movement under the boat. Needless to say, it was definitely those damn squids. Little Black, bite me. Hey, no, I seem to have forgotten about Nine Tails. A shadow flashed on Han Fei's arm, and the nine-tailed mantis shrimp appeared. It froze for a moment and then saw a tentacle stretch over from the side of the boat. Without hesitation, Nine Tails hooked the tentacle with its 2 claws and began its squid tentacle movement. Guard the boat. If you dare to be naughty again, I'll stew you and eat shrimp meat. Han Fei finally knew why he selectively forgot this thing. If he let it possess him to fight, he would be a first-class fighter. If he let it out, it would definitely not be a good thing. But when it didn't come out, it began to attack the squid tentacles. Under the water, the squid was probably also stunned at this moment. What on earth did my tentacles go through? 5 or 6 angry tentacles emerged at once. Nine Tails froze for a moment. It seemed to have roared too much. With a flick of its tail, 4 or 5 tentacles broke off and fell on the deck. Han Fei leaned against the cabin and shouted to Nine Tails, "Stop fighting! Here, the tentacles are coming again." After a long time, Han Fei occasionally waved his knife. Nine Tails, who hadn't come out for a long time, was so excited that he ran all over the boat. Although those tentacles were not weak, Nine Tails was also a legendary creature. Although it hadn't fully evolved, ordinary squids couldn't deal with it. At this moment, Han Fei's Forge the Universe had been stuffed with tentacles. He decided to take these tentacles back to the barbecue stall of the fish dragons. With so many tentacles, he could sell them for a lot of money. About in the early morning, for hours before dawn, Han Fei saw a big fish on the sea, which jumped out of the sea with a plop and was dozens of meters long. Han Fei was stunned. What the hell is that? How could there be such a big whale in the level 2 fishery? Are you kidding me? The big fish swam straight to Han Fei's fishing boat. Han Fei was dumbfounded and hurriedly tried to control the fishing boat to escape. Roar, a sound similar to a dragon's roar sounded. Han Fei turned around and roared? Giant arowana? The only big fish he had seen so far that could make such a sound was Xia Xiaochan's giant arowana. A moment later, Han Fei saw Xia Xiaochan sitting diagonally on the back of the big fish, kicking the water with her 2 little feet. As for the squids, they all avoided the giant arawana's legs, making Xia Xiaochan look like a whale girl kicking the water uncomfortably. At this moment, Xia Xiaochan was waving at him. After Xia Xiaochan jumped on the fishing boat, she saw the nine-tailed mantis shrimp running around, wagging its tail wildly. Han Fei didn't even have time to pick up the tentacles all over the boat. Xia Xiaochan immediately sat on the ground. Fortunately, your boat is strong. Why you here? Where's your ship? Xia Xiaochan looked at the tentacles on the side. They're sinking. The level 2 fishery won't always be like this, right? I heard that others stay in the level 2 fishery for days at a time. Why did so many cuttlefish appear as soon as we arrived? Xia Xiaochan asked. Who knows? He was just unlucky. Anything could happen in the fishery. If we have time to take off, it doesn't matter. We can avoid them by driving the fishing boat to the mixed area. Then why don't you go with them? Only with challenges can there be growth. Forget it. Is there any barbecue? I'm hungry. Han Fei took out a few skewers of barbecue from his sea-swallowing seashell and handed them to Xia Xiaochan. Han Fei chuckled in his heart. You almost destroyed your boat, but this giant arowana is really amazing. It's a bit too strong. Xia Xiaochan took a bite of garlic prawns. Delicious. By the way, why are you here? I remember you seem to be going south or west. Not in the same direction as me, right? Han Fei snorted. I'm floating on the sea. How do I know where I'm floating to? It wasn't that Han Fei felt he needed to hide the fact that he had caught an exotic creature. The point was that the golden squid was lying in the demon purification pot and he couldn't take it out now. Xia Xiaochan looked at the nine-tailed mantis shrimp and commented, "Your mantis shrimp is not bad. With it guarding the boat, you don't need to do anything." Han Fei asked with a smile, "Have you ever considered catching a contractual spiritual fish?" Xia Xiaochan shook her head indifferently. "I don't like any. The rare ones are useless and I can't catch any exotic ones. I thought I would catch one in the level 2 fishery." Han Fei nodded. This was true. Among the 5 of them, only he had a contractual spiritual beast. But Han Fei knew that the nine-tailed mantis shrimp and he were not in a contractual relationship, but others didn't know. Xia Xiaochan and the others didn't. They should all be waiting to catch a powerful contractual spiritual beast. Xia Xiaochan suddenly asked, "Let's go find Quang Quang?" Han Fei asked, "What about Xiaobai and Zhang Xuanyu?" Xia Xiaochan asked, "Xiaobai is a manipulator. It was impossible for these squids to hurt her. Zhang Xuanyu has a bloodthirsty shark. Even if his fishing boat sinks, he can ride a big shark and wander on the sea like me. Quang Quang is different. His spiritual clam can't swim." Han Fei nodded. Since he had met Xia Xiaochan, he didn't need to practice the water vein technique. Han Fei felt that he had almost finished studying his spiritual beast. As for the true meaning of fishing that old Bai mentioned, he really didn't find it. He couldn't just throw the hook into the sea and catch it blindly, could he? Lu Renquang was helpless. What did he do to deserve this? Were these squids sick? They didn't want to stay in such a large sea but climbed onto the boat. In the dark, there was a magical scene. The fishing boat under Lu Renquang's feet was full of weapons floating in all directions. In terms of group battles, armorists even had an advantage over soul warriors. All kinds of swords and knives were dancing and tentacles were flying in the sky. When Han Fei arrived, the fishing boat under Lu Renquang's feet was riddled with holes, not torn by the squids, but by his own weapons. Seeing Han Fei's fishing boat, Lu Renquang immediately greeted him. "Oh, Han Fei, I miss you so much. Come and help me." A few minutes later, the 3 of them were sitting on Han Fei's fishing boat and eating barbecue. Lu Renquang's fishing boat gradually began to seep and had sunk halfway. Lu Renquang muttered, "Why is our fishing boat so broken? No, I have to find a way to dig some wood from the bottom of the sea and build my own fishing boat." The night passed. Of the 5 people's fishing boats, 3 had sunk. Soon after dawn, Zhang Xuanyu came back riding a shark. Then, less than half an hour later, Luo Xiaobai came back. Luo Xiaobai's fishing boat was also almost broken. She got on Han Fei's fishing boat and saw the 4 of them were all there. She couldn't help asking, "When did you come back?" Zhang Xuanyu replied, "I came back when the fishing boat was broken. That fishing boat is too weak. I was almost dragged down by those damn squids." Luo Xiaobai added, "Last night was a special situation, but now there is only one fishing boat left. Why don't we act together?" Han Fei suggested, "Let's not run around and discuss how our research on spiritual beasts is going." Lu Renquang muttered, "What can I do? My spiritual vitality clam can absorb spiritual qi very quickly. Its defense is extremely strong. Well, but yesterday I found that it can change color. It can become the same color as the squids." Zhang Xuanyu was speechless. There are so many creatures that can change color. There are at least 8,000 kinds of creatures in the sea that can change color. What kind of ability is this? Luo Xiaobai replied, "No. This is also an ability. At least it proves that the spiritual clam has a camouflage ability. My blue cannibal flower can release a wide range of paralyzing venom. It was because of this venom that I was safe last night." Xia Xiaochan added, "It seems that everyone has a new understanding of spiritual beasts." With that, Xia Xiaochan's figure disappeared and appeared directly on the bow of the boat. "Shit, what the hell is this ability?" Everyone was stunned, including Han Fei. "This speed is too fast. Is it a shadow? This speed is too fast." In the blink of an eye, She disappeared. Xia Xiaochan explained, "This is the special ability of shadow shrimp. It can move to any place within 100 meters in an instant." Everyone, Zhang Xuanyu suddenly pointed to the big shark in the water and said angrily, "Look at it, and then look at yourself. I don't even want to talk about you. You're so big but you're useless." After cursing for a long time, Zhang Xuanyu shrugged and said, "I can control some low-level creatures. I can attach a trace of spiritual energy to these creatures. But the rare ones are more difficult to control and have a high probability of failure." Everyone, Han Fei was taken aback. "So, you can become a fish?" Zhang Xuanyu explained, "No, I'm still me, but I can control a fish. Then I'll have two visions at the same time." Everyone was surprised. What would it be like to have the vision of a fish? Only Han Fei was thinking, "I've already become a fish and the vision of a fish is so ugly." Of course, Han Fei was even more uncertain whether these guys had really revealed all the information. For example, it had only been one night and they could even teleport. Were they serious? Luo Xiaobai asked, "Han Fei, what about you?" Chapter 183. Everyone was staring at Han Fei. Han Fei thought for a moment. He couldn't say that he could enter the soul ocean, could he? This ability seemed a little overboard. So Han Fei said, "My little white can look for creatures other than rare creatures in the sea, such as exotic creatures. Last night, I was chasing an exotic creature and somehow ran into Xia Xiaochan." "Exotic creatures?" Everyone said in unison and looked at Han Fei with glowing eyes. Han Fei smiled bitterly. "Don't be too excited. If we are discovered by exotic creatures, they will hide and it will be difficult to find us again. Moreover, these creatures have extremely fast reflexes and escape abilities, making them very difficult to catch." Zhang Xuanyu said excitedly, "What's so difficult about it? There are 5 of us. As long as we can locate it, we won't have to worry about not being able to catch it." Xia Xiaochan was eager to try. "I can teleport. As long as I can get within 100 meters of it, I can catch it." Han Fei was taken aback. That seemed to be the case. Wasn't Xia Xiaochan's ability too terrifying? Teleportation, this was simply a godly skill. Luo Xiaobai said, "I can release paralysis toxins around." Lu Renkuang raised his hand. "I can," Zhang Xuanyu said disdainfully. "No, you can't. Your spiritual essence clam can change color. What's the use of that? I still have to do it. I can control the weakest fish in the level 2 fishery and help with observation." Lu Renkuang. Everyone chimed in. Immediately, everyone looked at Han Fei again. Xia Xiaochan's eyes were fiery. "Yes, big brother, our contractual spiritual beasts depend on you." Han Fei shivered. "Be normal." "Humph." Han Fei forced a smile. "Shall we go to the level 3 fishery? Don't you feel that it's a bit of a loss for you to contract a contractual spiritual beast from the level 2 fishery?" Luo Xiaobai shook her head. "Exotic contractual spiritual beasts can grow with their masters and may not be weaker than the exotic creatures in the level 3 fishery." Xia Xiaochan echoed, "This kind of creature is not restricted to fisheries. Exotic species were on the same level. They might be an accident in the level 2 fishery, or they were not strong enough to go to the level 3 fishery, or there were other reasons. But they are definitely not common creatures in the level 2 fishery." Soon, everyone reached an agreement and looked at Han Fei expectantly. "Okay. I wasn't sure if Xiaobai could find it. Let me try." Luo Xiaobai hesitated and said, "Can you change its name?" Han Fei ignored Luo Xiaobai and touched Little White's head. "Little White, can you find another creature like the golden snitch yesterday? Let's look for it." Little White dived into the water and spun around in confusion. In the end, he seemed a little uncertain as he chose a direction. The others did not know if Little White was really reliable. They only knew that Little White had started to lead the way and was very happy. They were all chatting about what kind of exotic creatures they could get their hands on. Lu Renkuang shouted, "I want a turtle, I want an exotic turtle. In this way, my defense power will definitely catch up with Han Fei." Zhang Xuanyu revealed a yearning look. I want a fast one, the faster the better. Who cares what it is? Luo Xiaobai said, I need someone who can attack and defend so that I can make up for my shortcomings as a manipulator. Xia Xiaochan said, I want a very strong attack power, very strong. Zhang Xuanyu was speechless. You aren't weak now, right? Few great fishing masters can block your dagger. Xia Xiaochan looked at Han Fei. No, he can block it. I want to stab him. Han Fei was speechless. No, it seems that exotic creatures are already in your bag. And you, Xia Xiaochan, can you stop thinking about stabbing me every day? Did I provoke you? Xia Xiaochan replied, Yes, I did. Han Fei. Suddenly, Luo Xiaobai said, Well, let's learn the voice transmission technique. Everyone? Luo Xiaobai explained, Before we came, my teacher guessed that we would go into the water, so he prepared a small technique for me that can allow us to transmit voice in the water. Han Fei was surprised. Is there such a thing? Han Fei was speechless. Before, when he went into the sea, he was either alone or gesticulated with others. But now it was so advanced? You can transmit voice? The others were also dumbfounded. It seemed that they had heard this thing for the first time. Luo Xiaobai continued, I thought we wouldn't go into the sea so soon, but I didn't expect that only one day. With that said, Luo Xiaobai took out a jade slip. Transmitting voice is actually very simple. You just need to practice it a little. Everyone took the jade slip suspiciously. When they saw the so-called voice transmission technique, they all looked strange. When Han Fei took the jade slip, he also looked strange. The so-called voice transmission technique was actually a kind of energy fluctuation produced by the combination of spiritual power and spiritual energy. Amazingly, it was simple to operate but very demanding. Spiritual power was something that no one could predict. However, it was basically impossible for a fisher or fishing master to transmit voice, mainly because their spiritual power was not up to the standard. But a great fishing master was different. By combining spiritual power and spiritual energy, he could easily form a vibration in the other party's mind. Although Han Fei didn't find out the principle, he tried it and called Xia Xiaochan a few times, Hey, hey, hey. Xia Xiaochan slapped Han Fei. Do you want to die? What do you mean, hey? Han Fei was helpless. Didn't I do an experiment? Xia Xiaochan asked, Why do you all want me to do experiments? There are 3 voices in my head. Everyone, then, 2 voices appeared in Han Fei's head. Lu Renquang said, I want to eat barbecue. Zhang Xuanyu asked, Are you 2 in love? Han Fei said with a black face, Okay, no need to try. It's very simple and consumes very little energy. The 5 of them all looked weird. No one knew what they were talking about. Anyway, the scene was very embarrassing. Han Fei thought that maybe he was the only one who called them He. The others were just as Zhang Xuanyu had asked. They didn't know what they were talking about. Han Fei suddenly looked at Zhang Xuanyu. What did you do to Hu Karen from the First Academy? I heard that you abducted the little girl for a night. Zhang Xuanyu replied, Same here. I heard that you abducted He Xiaoyu. What did you do? Han Fei replied, I just said a few words to He Xiaoyu. You didn't come back at all. Zhang Xuanyu said, Let me tell you, don't cheat on me. Otherwise, we can't be brothers. Han Fei and Zhang Xuanyu looked at each other, as if they were flirting. Xia Xiaochan asked, Are you 2 secretly chatting? What are you talking about? Han Fei snorted. No. What do I have to talk about with him? If I want to talk, I'll talk to you. Zhang Xuanyu scoffed. I can't. I was just in a trance. Little White swam for more than an hour and traveled nearly 1,000 kilometers. During this period, Han Fei received voice transmissions from the 4 people from time to time, asking all kinds of strange questions. Looking at the reactions of the others, they seemed to be chatting with great interest. It was even more convenient than making a phone call. Suddenly Little White stopped. Han Fei shouted, Stop chatting. I found it. Everyone was shocked and all stuck their heads out of the boat. Han Fei said, You can't just cast the fishing rod. That's how I scared away a golden snitch yesterday. Zhang Xuanyu said, Don't worry. Let me do it. Cast the rod 3 meters and catch a small fish. Luo Xiaobai immediately waved the fishing rod, and after 10 minutes, a yellow-boned fish was caught. Yellow-boned fish, like striped fish, was a common fish in the level 2 fishery. It got its name because its bones were extremely hard and could be made into weapons. Zhang Xuanyu's face changed slightly, and his eyes became dull. The next moment, the yellow-boned fish jumped and stared at Han Fei and the others. Zhang Xuanyu took a breath and said, "It's so ugly. Throw it down." "Everyone?" Han Fei chuckled. After a while, when everyone was nervous and excited, Zhang Xuanyu suddenly said, "It's a turtle, Silver." "Oh no, it's stabbed with many knives, too many to count." Lu Renkuang immediately patted his thigh. My. The first one is mine." Everyone was not disappointed because the first exotic creature was Lu Renkuang's, but even more delighted. Since Little White could really find it, it was only a matter of time before they continued to find others. Chapter 184. Now that he knew it was a tortoise, he had achieved his goal. Han Fei hurriedly said, "Don't let your yellow croaker bones get too close. Stay away." Luo Xiaobai asked, "How deep is it?" Zhang Xuanyu said, "About 200 meters underwater, lying on a stone platform in the middle of a coral bush." Luo Xiaobai said, "I'll enter the water first and spread paralysis toxins within 100 meters. Expand it a little bit. We don't understand this turtle. What if it's a godly speed tortoise and runs away in a flash? What should we do?" Everyone was speechless. How could there be so many creatures with such strange speed? Zhang Xuanyu said, "Wait, that turtle found me. Holy shit, he can still discover me from dozens of meters away. I'll swim away now." Luo Xiaobai paused. "Then should I go or not? This turtle seems to be very smart. Can you spread poison on the water?" Luo Xiaobai shook her head. "No, maybe Zhang Xuanyu will go down with me. My vines will go from the bottom of the sea." "No, as soon as your vines come out, the other creatures nearby will be alarmed. There's no reason this big turtle wouldn't be alarmed." Lu Renkuang was anxious. "Why don't we go up and fight them?" Zhang Xuanyu suggested. "It seems to work. At most, we can surround them from 5 directions." Han Fei thought for a while. He didn't have any experience, so he nodded and said, "To be on the safe side, let's approach from 500 meters away. Zhang Xuanyu, keep an eye on him from a distance. We have to be fast. Otherwise, just the fishes and prawns in the sea will be very troublesome." Xia Xiaochan said, "I can approach you in stealth mode and wait for you 100 meters away. If it wants to escape, I can teleport over." "Is there no limit to your teleportation?" Xia Xiaochan muttered, "I need to pause for a breath." Everyone was speechless. Teleportation was already very freakish, but you managed to do it in a single breath? Without hesitation, everyone used their own methods to run 500 meters away. Luo Xiaobai used vines, Zhang Xuanyu used waves, Xia Xiaochan turned invisible, Han Fei could step on air, and Lu Renkuang stood on the saber. As soon as Han Fei entered the water, a string fish entangled him. Han Fei asked Little Black to bite it to death, and he dodged the attacking fish with various postures. Han Fei sent a voice transmission to Lu Renkuang. Fortunately, the distance was not too far. Although it was a bit intermittent, it could still be transmitted. "Have we reached the bottom of the sea?" Lu Renkuang said, "Yes, but a large group of demonic fish are attacking me. Kill them quickly." On the other side, Xia Xiaochan sent a voice transmission, "Ready." Luo Xiaobai said, "Sprint in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Buzz. Han Fei immediately activated the Wandering Dragon art. As soon as Lu Renkuang launched torrents of knives and swords, the surrounding demonic fish were shattered. Bim! Han Fei quickly smashed the turtle shell with a seal. Clang! The violent metal knocking sound almost exploded the heads of the people in the water. The 1,000-blade turtle was smashed away and smashed a coral bush. The various fish, crabs, and other creatures inside didn't even have time to escape and were instantly minced by the thousands of blades. What shocked Han Fei was that the 1,000-blade turtle could still run away after being hit by him. However, at this time, Zhang Xuanyu's 7-layered sticks in Furiously arrived. The 7 sticks smashed quickly. After the 7th blow, Zhang Xuanyu himself was bounced back. Taking this opportunity, Han Fei smashed the turtle again. Clang! Finally, the thousands of blades seemed to have lost control. Some returned to the turtle shell, and some scattered everywhere. Luo Xiaobai's vines flew over and tied the 1,000-blade turtle up. After a moment, on the fishing boat, a group of people sat on the deck. Zhang Xuanyu gasped. This turtle is too powerful. My 7-layered waves in furious sea bounced back at me. It was so powerful that I almost couldn't control it. Han Fei, heal me. Not only Xia Xiaochan, but Luo Xiaobai was also the most seriously injured, with at least dozens of wounds on her body. 2 rays of light shone. Lu Renkuang looked at the 1,000-blade turtle as if seeing his little lover. At this moment, a weird laughter came from his mouth. Ah, baby, here I come. The 1,000-blade turtle was stunned by the water-stirring seal. Lu Renkuang cut his flesh and muttered. After a while, when the 1,000-blade turtle woke up, it struggled and roared, but then found that something was wrong and an invisible force controlled it. Lu Renkuang laughed. Ha! The 1,000-blade turtle? Too strong, too strong. Lu Renkuang was overjoyed, and the others all looked envious. This turtle was really strong. The 5 of them almost couldn't catch it. Its strength could be imagined. After a while, when the 1,000-blade turtle accepted this fact, Luo Xiaobai loosened the vines. Lu Renkuang put it into the water and muttered, "Go pick up your knives. Don't lose any of them, understand?" Xia Xiaochan jumped up and down. "Let's go find the next one." Han Fei looked at Little White. However, Little White wandered in the water for a long time, ran to Han Fei, and gave him a mouthful of spiritual energy. Xia Xiaochan asked, "What does Little White mean?" Han Fei said helplessly, "I haven't found it yet. Or let's change places first. There shouldn't be 2 exotic creatures in this small area." Luo Xiaobai agreed. "Yes, we ran thousands of miles away just for this 1,000-blade turtle. Maybe exotic creatures are territorial." Zhang Xuanyu suggested, "I'll control the fishing boat. Who will point in a direction?" Xia Xiaochan suggested, "South." Chapter 185. They floated on the sea for a full 6 days. On the 4th day, Zhang Xuanyu got his speed-type exotic contractual spiritual beast, the golden water silkworm, as he wished. Its characteristic was its speed. It was not just any kind of speed. It was a bug that was even faster than the golden flying bandit. Of course, it might be because its speed was so strong that it had no other advantages except for its speed. Of course, not everyone got the exotic contractual spiritual beasts that they wanted. Luo Xiaobai got an invisible jellyfish. She wanted to give it to Xia Xiaochan. However, Xia Xiaochan said that she could be invisible and didn't need it. So Luo Xiaobai took it herself. A manipulator who knew how to turn invisible was an extremely frightening thing. In battle, you could only see her controlling, but you couldn't find her. Wasn't it terrifying? Xia Xiaochan was not so lucky. She hadn't met a suitable exotic creature yet. Xia Xiaochan held Little White and said, Little White, find me one too. You found them. Don't leave me behind. Pop! Little White kissed Xia Xiaochan. Xia Xiaochan giggled. Oh, good girl. When you find my exotic contractual spiritual beast, I'll kiss you. Han Fei was speechless. Oh, Little White is female. Xia Xiaochan glared at Han Fei. None of your business. Luo Xiaobai suggested again, Han Fei, you really should give it a new name. Shall we call it Little White? Luo Xiaobai. Just when they were joking, Little White suddenly jumped into the water and swam to the north. Xia Xiaochan immediately shouted at Zhang Xuanyu, Hurry up! Little White, I found it. I found it. They had cooperated well these days. As long as they found it, they could take it. Seeing this, a smile appeared on everyone's faces. No one in the entire Blue Sea town was as lucky as they were. All of them had exotic contractual spiritual beasts. How many people would envy them? More than an hour later, they came to a barren sea. Xia Xiaochan was still excited. Luo Xiaobai frowned. No, wait a minute. We seem to be out of the level 2 fishery. Hearing this, everyone quickly gathered around. Luo Xiaobai pointed at the map and said, according to the map, we were at the edge of the level 2 fishery just now. But according to the speed of the fishing boat, I'm afraid we've gone another 1,500 kilometers. There's no record of this place. Lu Renquang was eating barbecue and said casually, even if it happens, it doesn't matter. In any case, they weren't too far away. Wasn't the level 2 fishery a mixed area? You have to go to the level 3 fishery via the teleportation array. Luo Xiaobai shook her head. No, it's true that the area outside the level 2 fishery is a mixed area. However, outside the level 2 fishery was a mixed area that had hardly been explored. In the past few days, we've gone out too far. For 6 whole days, although we took a few detours, the overall direction was always south. Han Fei wondered, why didn't I notice it before? Luo Xiaobai said, I thought we were going east just a little south. However, when I looked at the map just now, I suddenly realized that the position of the sun is not right. We are indeed heading south. Han Fei smiled. Can you estimate how far we have run? Luo Xiaobai frowned. I'm afraid it's more than 20,000 kilometers. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. 20,000 miles? They didn't feel it at all. In the past few days, everyone had been playing with their contractual spiritual beasts. Who cared about the direction? Xia Xiaochan said indifferently, forget it. Little Xiaobai has found it. Why don't we go down? It's impossible not to go down. Zhang Xuanyu nodded. It's just a mixed area. What are you afraid of? Han Fei didn't care. Let's go down. Even if we reach the level 3 fishery, the 5 of us can explore it together. Not to mention the mixed area next to the level 2 fishery. Luo Xiaobai nodded slightly. Okay, let's catch this one, go back the way we came and study the fishing method that the president mentioned. After a while, Zhang Xuanyu saw through his second vision. It's a shrimp, red, half a meter long. This shrimp has wings on its back. I guess it will be very fast. Xia Xiaochan nodded. Shrimp? Well, shadow shrimp is also a shrimp. This red shrimp may not be bad. Underwater, they were still surrounded in a circle. However, now they had more helpers. 5 people, 6 spiritual beasts, and 4 contractual spiritual beasts. After several rounds of encirclement, everyone found that exotic creatures were extremely vigilant. Once they started fighting underwater, they would alarm the other party. Anyway, they might as well show all their strength and openly encircle the other party. After a moment, Zhang Xuanyu said, Quang Quang, it's going towards you. Be careful, this shrimp is very fast and has a strong dodging ability. On Lu Renquang's side, thousands of knife shadows were flying. He shouted, no matter how strong its dodging ability is, it can't even dodge the torrents of knives and swords launched by me and the 1,000-blade tortoise. Xia Xiaochan said nervously, Quang Quang, what if you kill my contractual spiritual beast? Everyone was not far away. Suddenly, they saw the shrimp draw a strange arc in the water. Wherever the red prawn passed, it would leave a red mark. When they got closer, they found that it was simply a red flame that could still burn in the water. Not far from Lu Renquang, the shrimp flickered like a dancing elf. No matter how dense the knife blades were, it shuttled back and forth, leaving a strange route in the dark sea. Lu Renquang shouted, no, I can't stop it. This little thing is too good at running. Xia Xiaochan was speechless. Why are you so fat? Chase. The 5 of them chased it frantically. Fortunately, this little thing was not as fast as they thought. It was more powerful in dodging. They surrounded it, but it ran away. Fortunately, wherever this little thing passed, it would leave a red flame, so they didn't lose it. Han Fei ran in the front and attacked it several times to no avail. Suddenly, he saw a huge trench in front of him, like a cliff in the sea. It was a bit like the shipwreck pit in the ordinary fishery. It was also narrow and seemed to have been cut out by a knife, but this trench was a bit long. Han Fei said, "Attention, it's going down. Below is a very deep trench, but I don't know how deep it is. In addition, there are fewer fish nearby. There are almost no group fish. Be careful." After a while, they all rushed into the trench and chased it all the way to a depth of 1 kilometer. There were almost no fish around. Luo Xiaobai came back to her senses. "Something is wrong. This place is weird." Zhang Xuanyu said, "I can probably hold on for about a quarter of an hour. I need to breathe." Luo Xiaobai threw a vine over. "Bite it open. There is air in it." Everyone looked at Luo Xiaobai in surprise. "Not bad. There were quite a lot of flashy little tricks." Lu Renkuang said, "There is a hole below. It ran into the hole. Should we chase it?" Xia Xiaochan said, "Yes, be careful." Everyone rushed into the hole. Suddenly, Han Fei frowned slightly, feeling that something was wrong. Han Fei frowned. "Don't you feel that the temperature in this cave is a bit high?" Luo Xiaobai said, "It is indeed a bit high. Maybe this is the reason why the flame shrimp evolved." Then, after only a few minutes, everyone stopped. They were stunned by the scene in front of them. All kinds of colorful creatures were entangled in this cave. In the second half of the cave, there were no less than 1,000 kinds of creatures. But they were all low-level creatures. Even the sea anemones here were just ordinary sea anemones. And the red shrimp had nowhere to go at this moment and was scurrying around in the innermost part of the cave. Xia Xiaochan's eyes lit up. "Finally, I've caught you, my contractual spiritual beast." Luo Xiaobai said, "I'll block the way out. The others attack." Xiaochan teleports to catch it. "Something is wrong here. Let's finish it quickly and then leave." Chapter 186. Everyone attacked together. With a flash of Xia Xiaochan, the red lobster was hit against the rock wall. Xia Xiaochan said, "It's very hot. Let's beat it first and then sign the contract." Half an hour later, the red fire lobster finally compromised. The contract process was very fast. Xia Xiaochan said, "Red fire tricky lobster, what a strange name." Xia Xiaochan wanted to try the ability of the red fire tricky lobster, but Han Fei ran to the innermost part of the cave, picked up a knife, and slashed crazily. Luo Xiaobai asked, "Han Fei, what's wrong?" Xia Xiaochan was surprised. "What's wrong with you?" Han Fei pointed at the rock wall and said, "This place is strange. According to my experience in the sea, there's something here." Everyone rolled their eyes. "You've been in the sea for so many years? You're just bragging." However, then they couldn't laugh anymore, because they saw the rock wall was breaking. Gradually, a green jade door carved with patterns of aquatic plants was revealed. When this stone door appeared, everyone felt that the surrounding temperatures seemed to be rising again. Zhang Xuanyu said excitedly, "Treasures, there must be treasures here. We found a treasure cave." Han Fei was also very excited. He didn't expect that he would dig out a treasure when he captured a contractual spiritual beast. The sea was indeed the most mysterious place in the world, and there were treasures everywhere. Han Fei said, "Help me knock open the rock wall next to it and see if there's anything else on the door." Luo Xiaobai said, "Be careful. There may be something hot behind the door." After a while, a complete door appeared, with the words, "Fire Cloud Cave" written on it. Lu Renkuang looked at the words for a long time. "Is this an ancient relic? It looks like it's very powerful." Han Fei dragged him away. "Step it. I'll try to open the door." Everyone stepped back dozens of steps. Luo Xiaobai said, "Lu Renkuang, prepare the shield." Under everyone's nervous gaze, Han Fei stomped and tried to push the door open with all his strength. But the door didn't budge at all. Lu Renkuang quickly stepped forward. "Let me help you." So the two fatties tried their best, but the result was the same. The door still didn't budge. Zhang Xuanyu said, "Me too." The result was still the same. Suddenly, Xia Xiaochan said, "Try to pull it up." "Pull up?" The three of them stared at each other and tentatively pulled it. As a result, the three of them pulled the door open. What followed was a wave of heat, and at the same time, a huge suction force came from the door. Everyone felt their bodies tilt and their vision blur. The next moment, they were standing in the cave. Xia Xiaochan muttered, "3 idiots." The 3 of them. At this moment, no one retorted, because the scene in front of them had truly stunned them. Behind the door was a stove that was extremely hot. The surging waves of heat were emitted from the furnace. It was a circular space of less than 500 square meters. Apart from a large furnace placed at the entrance, there were only gray rock walls on both sides. In the middle, there was an irregular rock that was narrow at the top and wide at the bottom, connecting the top and the bottom of this space. My sea god! Did we really find the treasure? Zhang Xuanyu was so excited that he wanted to get closer to the stove. However, when he was 2 meters away from the stove, he was sent flying by a strange, scorching force. Fortunately, Luo Xiaobai reacted quickly and pulled him with a vine. Luo Xiaobai frowned slightly and said, "Be careful, this place is hidden very deep. It doesn't look like an ordinary treasure place. Don't be careless." Clang! Everyone looked in the direction of the sound. They saw that Lu Renkuang was holding a knife and knocking on a stone on the rock wall. It was a kind of blue jade, which seemed to contain some spiritual energy. Han Fei was speechless. "Kuang Kuang, you are really short-sighted. Why didn't you look at such a big furnace?" Lu Renkuang said contemptuously, "There's nothing in that furnace. You'll know if you look up and see inside." Han Fei didn't believe it, so he deliberately stepped on the air, only to see that there was magma in the furnace. Luo Xiaobai said, "It's earth fire. This space is connected to earth fire. Come and see." Xia Xiaochan stood in front of a rock wall and seemed to have found something. When everyone gathered around, they found some murals on this rock wall. On the murals, a man with wings on his back, holding a spear and confronting a dragon. Looking at the murals, everyone roughly understood the cause and effect. It was said that an unknown dragon came to this level 2 fishery and caused a large number of fishing boats here to go missing. Later, a strong master came from high in the clouds with a group of people. This strong master bravely slayed the dragon with his men and went through several battles. Although they slayed the dragon in the end, most of his men were killed and the strong master was seriously injured. Later, this strong master found that this place was connected to earth fire and tried to recuperate here. Xia Xiaochan shook her head. "This is not a dragon. If it were a legendary dragon, these people would have been killed as soon as they met. Take my great Xia Arowana for example. In the same realm, there aren't many people who can block its throat." Han Fei nodded in agreement. "Although I don't think it's a dragon, this thing can kill so many winged creatures. It should be very strong." "What do you mean by so many winged creatures?" "They were all hidden fishers, but they were all killed. They were all gone. I'm afraid it's not easy to get the treasure." Zhang Xuanyu smacked his lips and guessed, as if he knew very well. Rumble, Han Fei and the others quickly looked back, only to find that Lu Renkuang and Xia Xiaochan had run to the rock wall dozens of meters away. There was no telling who pressed the switch, but at this moment, a stone door was rumbling open. Lu Renkuang looked at everyone apologetically. Sorry. Xia Xiaochan was about to stick her head into the hole when she was caught by vines. Luo Xiaobai looked at the 2 of them with a headache and said, "Calm down. This place is weird. Don't run around." Xia Xiaochan giggled. "If we can't get out, we have to go in. Even if there is danger, it's behind us." Han Fei found that he was not the only one who liked treasure hunting. It turned out that everyone liked it. "Look at her, she's even more active than me." Zhang Xuanyu licked his lips. "Let's go in. There seems to be no danger here." Han Fei leaned over and saw not only the big dark hole, but also the lights on both sides that had long been extinguished. He immediately narrowed his eyes. "Wait a minute. Xia Xiaochan, try to light this light for me." Xia Xiaochan pointed her finger, and a string of flames emerged, which made Han Fei's imagination run wild. There were really all kinds of strange creatures in the sea. More importantly, when you obtained some special contractual spiritual beasts, you could have special abilities. Isn't it too cool? Her finger is even more useful than a lighter. In the next moment, a string of lights was ignited and extended all the way down. Han Fei was slightly stunned. An everlasting lamp? Why do I feel that this is a tomb and this is a pathway? A tomb? Han Fei nodded. Yes, according to the information on the mural, this expert healed his wounds here with the help of the earth fire. But if that's the case, why did he deliberately build these light slots on the walls on both sides? Luo Xiaobai thought for a moment. Don't move. Let me try. Luo Xiaobai stretched out her hand, and the vines extended along the ground and the wall. After a few minutes, all the vines suddenly broke. Luo Xiaobai shivered and her face was a little pale. Xia Xiaochan quickly supported her and asked, Xiaobai, what did you see? Luo Xiaobai looked awful. Human face crabs. A lot. They're clinging to the holes around the wall. I just disturbed them. Hiss, everybody gasped. The human face crabs could create illusions. How could they deal with a lot of human face crabs? Xia Xiaochan, Luo Xiaobai, and Zhang Xuanyu all stepped back. Lu Renkuang was dumbfounded. Why are you looking at us? Han Fei rolled his eyes and wanted to step back too. But Xia Xiaochan poked him with a knife. Why are you stepping back? The human face crabs can only create illusions, but they're not strong enough to break your defense. Han Fei said innocently, what if I'm hallucinating and attack you? Isn't it easy to let Lu Renkuang sweep them with torrents of knives and swords? Zhang Xuanyu patted Han Fei's shoulder and said solemnly, Fei, with your reminder, you can attract them to attack you if you stand inside. In this way, those human face crabs won't care about us. Han Fei's face darkened. You're such a bad friend. Luo Xiaobai said, if Lu Renkuang is bewildered, only you can completely block his torrents of knives and swords. Lu Renkuang? Han Fei? Chapter 187. Han Fei and Lu Renkuang were ruthlessly betrayed just like that. The two of them walked into the cave with their arms around each other's shoulders. Lu Renkuang asked, I'm afraid of the dark. Why don't you walk in front? Han Fei was speechless. Why weren't you afraid of the dark when you went into the sea to catch turtles? Lu Renkuang shrugged. I'm intermittent. Han Fei walked forward and even enjoyed it a little bit. In this state of adventure, when people knew nothing about the road ahead, they would generally have two emotions. One was fear, and the other was excitement. Obviously, Han Fei was more excited. Human-faced crabs are just human-faced crabs. Can they chop me like vegetables? After walking for less than 50 meters, Han Fei suddenly stopped. Lu Renkuang stuck out his head. Why did you stop? Han Fei turned his head stiffly, with a creepy smile on his face and creepy sounds coming from his mouth. Damn it. Haha. Han Fei suddenly returned to normal, pointing at the dumbfounded Lu Renkuang and laughing. Surprised? Surprised? Han Fei, I'm going to kill you, outside the passage. Luo Xiaobai's face changed slightly. Lu Renkuang has been bewitched? Zhang Xuanyu looked around. No, didn't you hear Han Fei laughing? He was so wretched. Xia Xiaochan nodded, determined not to go in. Han Fei's bad taste was satisfied. The two of them played for a while in the passage, and then Lu Renkuang suddenly stopped and took out the box with a swish. Han Fei blinked and couldn't laugh anymore. He heard a rustling sound behind him. Han Fei didn't look back but looked at Lu Renkuang. Seriously? Are you going to use torrents of knives and swords? Lu Renkuang shivered. Take it. How about you use them with me? I remember your blade storm is not bad either. Han Fei felt that the fishing rod behind him was hooked. Thus, he immediately lashed out with his twin sabers, slicing one of the human-faced crabs in half. But then his blood froze. He finally knew why Luo Xiaobai said there were a lot of human-faced crabs. How was this a lot? They were so densely packed that they looked like a swarm of locusts. Torrents of knives and swords. Blade storm. Almost instantaneously, both of them reacted. In the first few seconds, Han Fei felt like he was mincing meat, and a lot of broken shells hit his face. Then he felt that something was wrong. His position had changed. The tunnel was still the tunnel, the human-faced crabs were still human-faced crabs, and Lu Renkuang was gone. Illusion, this is all an illusion. As soon as Han Fei finished the illusion, the position changed again. He found himself in a circular space full of steel thorns, and countless marching sea leeches crawled out from the steel thorns. The steel thorns would also stab him in large quantities, causing his entire body to emit clanking sounds. You want to charm me? Pretending to be marching sea leeches? Am I not giving you face? Explode! As Han Fei blasted out a spiritual energy explosion, the steel spike ball disappeared. But Han Fei found that this was not a tunnel at all, and he didn't feel any pain anymore. Instead, he saw more than 10 washbasin-sized eyes that emitted a faint green light. Damn it, what a big crab! Han Fei swallowed. He saw a crab tens of meters long with a gloomy face. More importantly, this thing was smiling and staring at Han Fei with its mouth open and closed. He would be lying if he said he was not nervous. Strength and fear of the unknown didn't conflict at all. Han Fei took a few steps back. Brother Crab, how are you? A crab leg flashed by in an instant, and Han Fei's body made a weird posture and he rolled back on his back. The crab leg was less than a centimeter away from his nose, which made his scalp go numb. Rumble, Han Fei looked back, only to see that this small hole had been smashed by the crab leg, and gravel was rolling. Shoot, Brother Crab, I was just passing by. You don't have to be so cruel, do you? Thinking of the knife just now, it was too fast. If it weren't for his tense body, his head might have been cut off at this moment. Wait. Suddenly, Han Fei froze. I should be able to see the data. Even if you are a question mark, I should be able to see the question mark. But you don't even have a question mark. Are you fake? When the crab legs slashed at him again, Han Fei raised the two knives and slashed. Crack! The huge crab leg was easily cut off by Han Fei. Pooh! That scared the hell out of me. Han Fei cursed aloud. Don't pretend to be cool if you're not strong enough. You scared me. I thought you were really that big. Han Fei took the initiative to attack. At this moment, the big crab suddenly turned into many small crabs and began to besiege him. Explode. Explode is healthier. Absorb. Han Fei could clearly sense that spiritual energy was flowing in. It meant that the human-faced crabs must have been slaughtered by him. It did make sense. There were so many crabs, and they couldn't be gone so easily. The silence was a bit weird. Unfortunately, the crabs were gone after the explosion of spiritual energy. But Han Fei didn't return to reality. Instead, he found himself on a fishing boat at sea. Captain, we're here. Shall we go into the water to explore? Hiss! Han Fei really gasped and pinched himself, only to find that it hurt. How could the illusion be so realistic? Captain? Poochie! Han Fei slashed at the guy behind him without any hesitation. Han Fei scoffed. Lousy! You think you can mesmerize me with such an illusion? As soon as the nine-tailed mantis shrimp attached to him, the 7 chains began to sweep. Immediately, Han Fei was brought back to reality. The broken shells of the human-faced crabs were all over the ground. Many human-faced crabs were even fleeing. The scene was very real. But he didn't see Lu Renquang. This was very abnormal. Could it be that he was still in an illusion? No, if Lu Renquang were here, his torrents of knives and swords would have hit me. But I don't feel anything at all. Han Fei felt that he was lost. He turned around and shouted, Quang Quang. Nobody responded. He called Xia Xiaochan and the others, but they still didn't respond. I'll just keep walking. Do you think I'm afraid? Han Fei walked on. There was no telling whether the human-faced crabs were scared or not, but fewer human-faced crabs tried to attack him. Han Fei was no longer as casual as he was at the beginning. He found that the further he went, the colder it was. Although he wasn't scared of the cold, he could feel it. Isn't there an earth fire? But the temperature is already below 0. What fire are you talking about? After Han Fei walked through the cold and gloomy passage, he saw a green dragon coiled up in a big hole. At this moment, the dragon was holding its head high and roaring at him. The roar was as loud as that of a giant arowana. Fuck. No data. Is it fake? Han Fei thought to himself. He had learned his lesson and knew that the illusions of the human-faced crabs were impossible to guard against. The dragon before him was fake, but he saw data appearing on a protruding stone at the dragon's tail. Human-faced ghost crab. This is a mutation of the human-faced crab that swallowed the decayed body of the blue sea wandering dragon. It has a strong hallucinogenic ability. Level 31 exotic, mutation, 982 points. Possible mental abnormalities after eating illusion. Beat. Han Fei sneered. So, it was you who was playing tricks. I knew it. How could an ordinary human-faced crab create such an absurd illusion? It turned out to be an exotic mutant human-faced crab. The dragon roared again and spurted a cold pillar of water at Han Fei. Han Fei didn't block it. Although he felt that his body was covered in ice, the ice was broken by his spiritual energy. Han Fei roared, "Crab die!" Chapter 188. Han Fei charged forward as if he didn't care about his life. The human-faced ghost crab didn't expect him to be so reckless either. He wasn't afraid of a dragon at all and even wanted to kill it. The moment Han Fei approached, he suddenly changed his direction and darted out 7 chains, tying up the rock that the human-faced ghost crab disguised as. Critical blow. The knife in his hand turned into a white light and stabbed at the human-faced ghost crab. In the next moment, the illusion was gone, and Han Fei saw a super big crab 7 meters long suddenly stand up. The rock he saw just now turned out to be one of the crab's pincers. Fuck! Han Fei saw that his knife pierced through the crab's pincers and infuriated it. When the crab stood up, Han Fei realized why it was called the human-faced ghost crab. On its abdomen, there was a weird face, hideous, creepy, and terrifying. Although the 7 chains locked the human-faced ghost crab, the crab was already above level 30. It meant that the crab was as strong as a dangling fisher. Also, the crab's defense and strength were strong in the first place. He was thrown away and hit the rock wall. Little Black, get in. Han Fei wasn't panicked at all. Human-faced crabs weren't good at fighting. The only thing they were good at was creating illusions. Since the illusion had been broken by him, Han Fei wasn't scared even if the human-faced ghost crab was level 31. Little Black took the opportunity to sneak into the hole that Han Fei had just made. In the next moment, the human-faced crab began to wail, and all kinds of illusions changed in front of Han Fei. In the illusions, he saw the so-called dragon and a bunch of hidden fishers fighting. Dozens of hidden fishers attacked with all kinds of weapons. Manipulators, soul warriors, spirit gatherers, and so on. However, they were frozen by a blue gas that the green dragon spewed out. Apart from the battle, Han Fei also saw that the strongest expert drew the power of many people and pointed a finger at the dragon's head. The green light that the fingertips spurted out seemed to contain immense energy. Han Fei found it horrifying even though it was just an illusion. In an instant, dozens of scenes were switching. The human-faced ghost crab seemed to have lost its mind after being bitten by Little Black, and all the scenes of its life were replayed. This feeling was like a 5D movie, and Han Fei was in it. Han Fei saw that after slaying the dragon, the strong master's body cracked and almost collapsed. He dug up the dragon's corpse, ate the dragon's meat and liver, and barely managed to stabilize his injuries. However, his injuries were too severe. Extending his lifespan temporarily was completely useless. Thus, he used his remaining strength to open up this fire cloud cave. In order to prevent the dragon from reviving, he separated the dragon bones and scattered them in the cave. When he was opening up his immortal's cave, he accidentally discovered the earth fire, so he used the earth fire and the dragon corpse to refine pills. Unfortunately, because of the great drop in strength, the pill concoction failed. In the end, he couldn't hold on and died. And all of this was seen by a little crab. At first, this human-faced ghost crab was just an ordinary human-faced crab. It didn't dare to approach the pill cauldron or the dragon corpse for decades. It wasn't until it was nourished by the dragon chi that it dared to bite the bullet and eat some rotten dragon meat. Over time, the human-faced crab mutated and became the human-faced ghost crab that it was today. Suddenly, Han Fei stopped them. Little Black, stop eating. Little Black emerged from the shell of the human-faced ghost crab, one of its pincers drooping. Obviously, it had finished eating. Han Fei ordered, "Collect the demon." Perhaps the human-faced ghost crab was too frightened, or perhaps it was timid, or perhaps it felt that death was coming, but the demon purification pot didn't encounter any resistance when it collected the demon. This human-faced ghost crab was immediately collected into the calabash and went to accompany the golden snish. After the human-faced ghost crab was collected, the ordinary human-faced crabs immediately ran back to their nest to hide. And in the place where the human-faced ghost crab used to be, a crystal bone more than 3 meters long was exposed. Han Fei had seen the human-faced ghost crab's small bone. Han Fei immediately recognized that it was a dragon bone. Excited, he immediately ran up to pick up the bone. As soon as he picked it up, Han Fei almost threw it away. His heart chilled, his heart soared, his bones were terrifyingly cold. Blue Sea Wandering Dragon Bone, the bone of the descendant of a dragon. It contains cold air. After a long time, its spiritual energy has been greatly reduced. It's an excellent material for forging spiritual weapons. Han Fei was shocked. Can it forge spiritual weapons? Is there really a dragon bone in this cave? Although there is only one here, it's so big that dozens of knives must have been cast. Putting away the Blue Sea Wandering Dragon Bone, Han Fei's heart was pounding. This is just a dragon bone. Logically speaking, there should be an entire set of dragon bones here. How could there be just one? If all the dragon bones were collected, then wouldn't the set of Million Knife School spiritual weapons be ready for completion? When Han Fei was about to continue exploring, he hesitated. Lu Renkuang was gone. Should I look for him? But the moment he turned around, he saw that the one hole he had come from had turned into 3. Which hole did I come from? Han Fei looked back at the hole behind the human-faced ghost crab. There was only one hole here. Was the purpose to make people more selective? Han Fei thought for a moment. Lu Renkuang was not simple, or rather, everyone was not simple. They all had trump cards. Even Xia Xiaochan had a giant arowana with her. If it was just a creature at the level of the human-faced ghost crab, it shouldn't be a big problem. With this in mind, Han Fei strode to the hole ahead. Unfortunately, Han Fei didn't know how to play with fire and couldn't light the lamp slot, so he could only grope in the dark. Fortunately, a cultivator's vision was very strong, and this pitch-black cave didn't scare him. The tunnel was very long. Halfway through, Han Fei stopped. He found a fiery crystal on the wall. He couldn't tell its quality, and the demon purification pot didn't react. However, this thing gave him a scorching feeling and seemed to be able to resist the cold air in the cave. Immediately, Han Fei took out a knife and began to pick it up. 1, 2, Han Fei picked up nearly 100 fiery crystals in total and found that the road ahead was clear. It was also a big hole, even larger than the cave of the human-faced ghost crab. The cave was tens of meters high and inlaid with fiery crystals. However, this place was connected to the sea. Except for a circular passage for walking, it was a round swimming pool, and the water was extremely clear. Han Fei saw a super large skull more than 10 meters long lying quietly in the water. A dragon head? Beside the dragon head, there were various colored corals and some sea anemones, but no small fish or shrimp. Goodoo! Han Fei swallowed. Did I just find the dragon head so easily? Han Fei felt that the demon purification pot on his wrist lit up. Recently, the demon purification pot had been quiet and rarely lit up. Only then did Han Fei find that the water here was full of spiritual energy. Han Fei took a deep breath and still felt cold. But because of the abundant spiritual energy, he felt refreshed and his eyes were clear. If he cultivated here, he would definitely make great progress. He ignored the fiery crystals on the rock wall above his head. There were so many of them that they couldn't be of good quality. He had no desire to collect them at all. Han Fei stared at the dragon head, and his face suddenly changed. There seemed to be some small stones inlaid at the bottom of the dragon head. Why did they look so familiar? Spiritual stones. Han Fei immediately got excited. He was wondering where the spiritual energy came from. Then he found spiritual stones. Whatever he lacked, he found them. Han Fei stepped out, but then he withdrew his foot. It was a bit strange that the dragon head was right here. By rights, there should be a lot of creatures here. But now there was none? Was there none, or did he not see it? Han Fei took out his fishing rod and tried to pull the dragon head up. He felt that this place was a bit weird, so he'd better be careful. The fishing hook went straight to the dragon head in the water. Come up. Hiss, it's so heavy. Just when Han Fei was struggling to pull it up, a long and huge shadow suddenly flashed by in the water. Han Fei couldn't see what it was at all, but he could only guess that it was about 7 or 8 meters long. Before Han Fei could think more, the fishing line was suddenly broken. Under the inertia, Han Fei stepped back 5 or 6 steps. He hurriedly ran to the edge of the pool again. What was that? 17. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.